Okay. All right. We'll talk in a bit. I'll throw a break in. All right. Hi, Internet. My name is Todd. We're going to play some Dungeons. Whoa, hold on. That's like weird. I mean, Christmas music? Is that... Sounds like... It's called Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod. Kind of reminds me of something that would play on Die Hard. Anyway, hi, everybody. We are back. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Todd. I'm going to be the DM. And I got a whole virtual table full of people that I can't really hear when I'm talking, so I'm going to shut up and meet them. Hey, everybody, you're on.
Hello.
All right. Unique New York. All right, so we're going to do some Dungeons and Dragons tonight. The whole party will do a recap. One thing I want to remind everybody here, and also anybody watching at home, is to come and if you're joining us live on Tuesday at 9, you can spend some plot points with us. So plot points are where you get an idea in the middle of a game. You're like, wouldn't it be cool if suddenly Donnie's hat turned into a flump creature that just floated away? Then you would spend a plot point, and that would just kind of happen in game. It couldn't be an instant death, but it could definitely complicate people's lives, make their lives interesting and dangerous, and more funny. More funny. That's the main goal. So anyway, so that's plot points, and Internet, you get to spend them too. Dun dun dun. I wish I had sound effects. I'm still rebuilding my system, so it's not quite where it should be. But anyway, whatever. So let's go around the horn. We'll meet everybody again, hear who they are playing, and then we will dive in with a recap and then the game itself. So I'm gonna shut up now. And I forgot to ask, table. I forgot to ask who wanted to do the recap. Okay, you guys think about it, and I'll roll a dice. How's that sound? All right, so in the meantime,
a recap. We fought a thing and it died. That's it. That's everything that happened. We did it. There you go.
That's pretty damn accurate, actually. That kind of works.
I mean, honestly, I think it was a great session. There was a lot of stuff that happened that was during the combat, which was cool. But if you want to sum up, that's how you sum it up.
There you go. And everybody leveled up.
Can you do it as a 3-year-old?
Then I'd have to remember every round of combat. and then they attacked, and then the next guy attacked. And then they hit the ground and everyone fell down. And then they attacked. And they hit them with the sword.
And then
that was the cool part. The stars are cool.
RC, cool. That was actually frightening how close to a 3-year-old that sounded.
That was pretty legit.
And then
yeah.
Hey,
and the fact
you're
that
forgetting the part where Gex rode the worm.
It's true.
Yeah.
Which I think, honestly...
that part. No, but before that, there was a thing that I forgot to mention.
I think, honestly, that should have been a contender for the episode name, as Gex rides the worm. But
yeah, that's good.
You know, but I forget what it was now. It's something about a sphincter. Anyway, so we'll go around, we'll meet all the characters and the people, and then we'll dive in. So let's start with last one in, first one going. So Matt, tell us who you're playing today.
I am playing Balin of Clan Iron Ear.
Ooh, Iron Ear.
Iron Eater.
Oh, Iron Eater. I heard Iron, but I see it now in writing. All right, and so you're playing a dwarf, and what class are you? I actually didn't even put that on the character sheet, on the card.
Technically, I am a wizard.
I think I am.
I think I'm a wizard, Harry. Okay, cool. All right, let me just... Oh, Internet. It always... sorry. I'm wearing like 8 hats.
During the break last time...
Oh, yeah.
I thought I was asking Matt if Balin was a cleric, because I'm so used to seeing dwarven clerics, and clerics get such a weird array of spells. It just felt like, that's probably a thing.
I mean, there are clerics with burning hands. Like, that's a real thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Really, eh?
And like Forge cleric would hit the bill of the like caring about crafting and stuff really well, and Forge and Fire. I could see it. I don't know.
I like the fact that he's
no like, loadout of Forge or anything, but yeah.
There's not enough dwarven wizards. There should be. They're so
I
long.
know, I like it. I much prefer them as a wizard. I just that was my guess because I didn't know last session either.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for that to kind of pop up. All right, so thank you, Matt. We'll jump up to Bella, who is currently under attack by a creature of some kind. Hey, Bella.
Oh, she is feisty, and she's attacking my dog too. Like, there's going to be a little fight over in my left corner here, so
Hey, kitty cat.
I don't know.
Roll for initiative.
She is saucy. She just kicked the dog out of his bed.
Oh
Oh my God, she's saucy. Anyway, hi, I'm Bella. I'm Bella with the saucy cat Onyx, and I am
It's a
playing
subclass.
Isolde. Yeah, she's my familiar, and she's a bit of a jerk.
I mean, if you want a familiar, I can make that happen. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't know if blood hunters. I think blood hunters should have familiars. Damn it, you know.
Honestly,
If Mr. Mercer out there wants to update the class, I'm just saying.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I'm playing Isolde, who is a very green, which is kind of weird at level 9 to think that she's still pretty green.
What you gonna do?
But that's how
the world that we live in.
She's developed that way, and so I'm gonna keep playing her that way.
I mean, that is the definition of imposter syndrome right there.
Yeah, I mean,
She
so
thinks she's green.
yeah.
That's all it takes. Just have a little
No,
faith.
I think she is.
Todd, your D&D setting is that level 9 is still a newbie. That's what you've created that setting.
I have to up my game. Holy crap. All right.
It's canon.
I mean, Peter Parker gets all his powers right away. It still takes him a while to figure out how to be Spider-Man, right?
There? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, purple worms for everybody. They'll be as common as goblins. All right, let's go around and meet Darcy and Darcy's character.
Hi everyone, I'm Darcy from twitch.tv/DarcyBits. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm playing Empty Wisdom, the monk seeing the wide world for the first time, who occasionally maybe gets possessed by her own astral spirit. I don't really know. We'll figure it out as we go. I'm having a fun time playing the duality of this character, which isn't something I really thought of at session 1, but halfway through session 1 I was like, no, I think the astral self is a separate entity, and we'll see what happens.
Nice.
Or maybe it's just some really deep-rooted feelings, who's to say, but it's a very fun way of going, hey, I usually don't play very combat-oriented characters because I don't want to play a character who only cares about combat, but if I have this duality, I can have this mode switch, and that feels really good. I'm really enjoying that.
Initiate combat mode.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like she just passes out and then fights, and then she wakes up and she's like, what happened? It's great. I love it.
Nice. I love it. All right, let's jump over to Donnie next, because last time I skipped you, and I still wake. See, this is my personality. I'll it up a little bit like that, and then I will have no fear. I will berate myself for weeks if I do something social wrong. That's just my own personal edges and flaws. But anyway, so here's Donnie with a very important character update. Go.
I am Ashina. I am kind of human, but you'll see a blue hue around me. And I'm a druid. I love woodlands and animals.
Nice. All right. Thank you. He's blue. Daboo-dee, daboo-die. I'm glad somebody else got that terrible joke of mine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump on down to Steve in the corner, because he's busy. I can see he's updating his character right now, I think. No.
That's
Writing an ad.
Oh.
Yeah, you gotta get the commercials ready to go. These things
Absolutely. He's
take a
also a
little bit of
copywriter.
thought. Yeah.
Writer of copy.
No. Yeah, this week's sponsor is ready to go. So we could change it up and have it at the beginning for once. But yeah, Gex Techford, still here, still alive, still old. Yeah. what else can you say? He's just somewhat of a patriarch to some, somewhat of a rascal to others.
Nice.
Enjoys adventuring.
A
Values his
patriarchal.
life less and less as days go by.
Nice. Now, about the character. I'm just kidding.
Sporting his freshly tailored T-Rex skin armor.
Oh,
Loving
that's
that.
right. That's right. He's dressed to impress. Now, the only problem with T-Rex armor is it's sleeveless.
Sure.
They don't make it with arms. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. All right. I'll be here all week. Oh, speaking of somebody who's not here because of jokes, although his jokes are probably much better than mine, Jay, unfortunately, is not able to join us today because he joined us and he's off to do a comedy thing. So normally he plays Jimmy Fresh, but no Jimmy Fresh today. So Kid Jimmy Fresh will be played by me. So yeah,
Nice.
he's a mastermind rogue, or any of you actually. Plot points all around. All right, let's jump up to Brandon, and we'll finish off with Gordon. Brandon, welcome
I
back.
got Hilda.
Oh, and
Fine,
I'm sorry,
Brandon.
I'm so many players. All right, sorry, Brandon, take it away.
So good. Yeah, I'm Brandon. I'm playing a divination half elf wizard named Eli, who's just a young kid having fun. That's about it.
Nice. I love that it's like young kid just exploring the world, young kid uncertain, young kid, and then we got Gex in the corner who's like, what? Old kid.
X is young at heart. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. Old kid.
Gather
works.
my chicks under my wing.
Exactly. And then I also love the fact that last season he was the one who totally it all up and gave away the secret mission and caused all of that madness. No offense, Steve, but it was a wonderful moment that I was like, I can use. Excellent, I shall use this against them. Speaking of using things against people, hey, Gordon.
Hello.
Just kidding. You were a great sport about that, by the way. Here we go. Let's go meet Gordon, and then Timely. I will not forget.
Hey, Gordon. I normally play Rook, who is a phantom rogue that is trying to figure out who killed his neighborhood. And until I get back to him, I'm playing Talthar, who was in Session 0, and is beta reappearance, and he's on a mission to bring everyone back.
Love. Wait, no.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Something like that.
Who knows where this will go, but that's awesome. And I hope I'm honoring you by letting you play your first character. And then we'll come back to Rook and the others. That's still back here. We'll do that after a little
I wanted
hiatus.
to ask what your definition of normally is. I feel like you haven't played a lot of Rook. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
You will play
This
Rook
is the
again.
one I love,
We will,
and everyone else, yeah.
you will play Rook long enough to be eaten by the big bad. That's I think. I hope that's not a promise,
Nice.
but I'm gonna make a note anyway. Just say. All right, and as promised,
I'll just slip you some plot points under the table.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Plot point.
Flat point. And let's take it over.
I vote we mutiny against Todd and give Gordon all of our collective plot points.
You know, he's a great GM, so I would be okay with that.
Yeah,
We should
in
definitely.
this case implies that someone else becomes the GM, which I do kind of love the idea of running a D&D campaign where you periodically mutiny the GM and replace them with somebody.
And then I get to
Totally
play.
Because, I mean, Todd did sort of.
No, you
force
lose. You leave the game.
Yeah, I'm just out.
You just
That's
gone.
I have to leave Gordon all my pathetic notes and the keys
You'll be
to
like
the
DM
kingdom.
Mad Libs.
Yeah,
DM
and I have
Mad Libs.
I'd have to give you the stream key, and that's it. And I'm just like, mic drop.
You think you're DMing this game when in reality,
Speaking,
DMing.
let's hear from Timely, and then I do want to shout out. We've got a couple decisions as a group we can make either now or after the game. But let's jump over to Timely before I forget, because I have a memory of a damn goldfish. Timely.
Hello, this is Emily, and I play Hilda Bonebraid, who is a dwarf paladin. So, like Talifar, we strike on the paladin path. Except I sort of stumbled into this after dropping out of med school dropout, and then I like to think that with all the adventuring we've done so far and being level 9, that I am no longer a green thumb at this whole adventuring business. And maybe this is my true calling rather than med school. Ever was.
Now, to only put that in a letter to mom and dad and make them feel okay with it, that's going to be the real challenge. That's your big bet. Like everybody else fighting the dragon. These guys, you're going to be fighting the expectations of mom and dad. Okay, I feel a little too seen in that. All right. Just another thing before we dive in. We will not, at least I won't have a game. Maybe Gordon will take over next week, or Steve might actually take over next week. We also play some Shadowruns, so if you've got a Shadowrun character, you're invited to jump in. If you don't, we can maybe set aside a time to make one, but that's a whole 4-hour stream on its own. Yeah, Steve.
I'm going to interrupt you there and say, yes, Shadowrun is on for next week. And it's the continuation of the short 5-part series we had that started last November.
Nice. So, I will not be there, but others may be. And
so is it just not going to be streamed and we're just telling stream this, or what?
Yeah.
No, we're going to stream it. I'm going to stream it.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Steve
nice.
is going to stream it over YouTube primarily, but if I can sit down and we can get you the stream stuff so we can get you onto Twitch as well.
I mean, it's not properly streaming to Twitch right now as we speak.
Oh, is it not? Again?
No.
For me, it isn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Restream is
either
being
be
a
on
pain.
my YouTube channel or on the SideQuestsLive YouTube channel. It'll be on one or the other.
Yeah, the weird thing is, anyway, I'll diagnose that annoying thing later. But annoyingly, I get a bitrate feed to Twitch, but I don't know what's going on with that. So we'll try to fix that another time. Mostly it's the podcast anyway. Quality podcast.
Hello, podcast listeners. We see you.
We see you. We hear you. We love you. Welcome to Dungeons and Jazz. All right. We'll be back after this.
Nobody cares about.
Hey, Internet. Let's do this. The last of the shudders finally subsides. The ground beneath you, unsteady terrain in a good 50 to 100 feet. You see caved in sections of swamp. You see water beginning to flow downwards into this trench from the drenched, soaked earth around. You see trees listing at weird angles along this massive ditch that was once the tunnel of a purple worm, as it must have been surfacing at about this point. You can also see other areas where swamp water is draining down even further. You can see this whole terrain has changed based on the underground topography changing from within it. It is unsteady, and it is still potentially a hazard. You catch your breath. The corpse of this massive creature lying before you, beginning to kind of rest into place. You can see around your companions panting and exhausted, in some cases wounded, and you are now ready to begin to continue your quest to get your emissary back to Tazvrel, to the Mage Tower there. In fact, speaking of which, I'm going to need a perception check. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's.
While we're rolling this,
I don't think you can roll, Darcy. Sorry.
Why can't I roll?
You're unconscious.
You woke me up at the end of the last one.
Did we? Or
I don't know.
did
You said you did. I believed you.
I think you're still unconscious.
I'm
Don't
fine
worry.
with that then. I
Give
was
me a
gonna
moment.
jump into a scene of me, basically standing up. So
You get to your feet dramatically. All right, I'll take those top 3. So we got Isolde with 10. Isolde, you were kind of in a corner of the trench in very unsteady terrain, and you can actually see this massive like outcropping of mud and rock and root finally start to give way above you, and so you have to sidestep that, which kind of ruins your looking around. Ashina, you're above, so you have a better view, but unfortunately, there's so much dust, and you can hear the swamp creatures all kind of running about, and it's very, you just don't see shit with an 11. However, Hilda has managed to stay on the top of the ledge without going in, and she gets a good look around with a 16. And Talathar, you would be fine, except you're rushing over to empty wisdom and dragging them away from this worm, which in its death throes is giving these little twitches, and you're both on the worm. So every time its muscles spasm and it kind of shifts a good quarter turn like to the left, it sends you scrambling. So unfortunately, you don't see much with your 7, although I do appreciate Gordon finally rolling something other than a 19. That's going to be the running joke.
he rolls 20s sometimes. Come on.
Sometimes.
And 2s.
I'm gonna heal empty for 25.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Empty pops back up. Meanwhile, Hilda, you take a look out over this terrain, and you can see other bursts of mist up into the air, almost like geysers, a little bit further away. And it takes you a few seconds. Like you saw this when the worm first surfaced, it caused a suction kind of effect deep underground in these tunnels, which changed the topography within a good 100 feet. But some of these bursts are much further away, like 150 feet, 200 feet, and you can see sections as this terrain has become so pocked and holed from below that now other sections are starting to collapse. So you can see that the danger has not entirely passed, and with a 16, there does seem to be a pattern to this. It does look like the worm has done a few circles here and there, judging by what's collapsing and where. So you see a rough trail of where it has come from, and as you're looking, it goes away to the southeast from where you are, in a rough pattern that direction. Now, to note, you came in from the northeast and are traveling southwest, and that's where you're headed. At which point, Jay's character, Jimmy Fresh, kind of pipes up from below. Can I get a hand down here?
So first, I'd like to thank the group for their great assistance in getting me out of that worm's belly. I don't know what I would have done if you guys hadn't all come along, and I'd like to I think I owe you guys a debt of gratitude. So I don't know what you're doing in here, but I'd love to help you out on your mission if you'd accept my service. And I think I can make a start. I think with Mold Earth, I'm able to move 5 feet of ground every round. I could probably help lift Jimmy up out of his pit there.
Absolutely. Gex, you're the closest to him introducing himself.
Well, young lad, it's nice to meet you, even though it's somewhat strange circumstances under which we acquaint ourselves. But you know what? The group grows, and the group always grows. So, welcome. We could always use another willing adventurer. What are you doing here?
Well, I was looking for rare materials. My people, we have a long tradition of craftsmanship, and that's part of how I've made my trade out here. I left my home some time ago. I'm one of the first generations of dwarves to do so since we retook our mountain homes. So I guess I'm just out here trying to make a living. Tracking down some of our lost lore wherever I can find it. So somebody sent me in here to get one of these. One of these blue swamp stones. I heard they grow in the gullets of these worms, so I figured this is probably a good place to look. I guess they're a little bit bigger than I bargained for.
Well, I have to say that's quite an interesting coincidence. You see, looking at our group, with the exception of this paladin and that paladin, most of us could use a little bit of deshabification. So if you're into artisanizing, this is definitely a group that would benefit from such a thing.
He says in literally like freshly oiled, custom tailored leather hide T-Rex armor. Actually, it does have the two vestigial arms right where the nipples are. I think that should be my plot point.
Yeah, like George Clooney Batman.
Like he uses it to kind of hang, hook his backpack straps around so it stays on. It doesn't fall off. Yeah, the arms are like holding.
It holds your cloak. You just grab the hands and like pincers.
I can't do that.
Oh shit!
I can tell it's a piece of amazing craftsmanship. It's my specialty.
It's a piece of work, all right.
Materials, but it's beautiful armor.
Well, listen. As much as it would be great to stay here, and while we're talking, we potentially have some ne'er-do-wells on our heels and need to be getting to a port on the other side of the island. He who is down underground at the moment is the one
Jimmy.
who was leading us to a port he's aware of.
The name's
He went
Kid
down
Jimmy.
under there to search for something.
Yeah, I'm trying to save this lizard guy. Anybody can spare a minute?
You look down
yeah.
and you can see the lizard's feet are sticking out from a collapsed section of wall with mud and stuff, and his feet are just kind of half kicking around, and Jimmy's busy trying to pull away the mud, but it's collapsed in, and it gets like an armload away and another one replaces it. What do you do?
I just mold earth will take care of that, right?
Oh, nice. So Matt
It's a cantrip.
steps up to where you're within range. I think the range on that's 30 feet.
30 feet, yeah.
Perfect. So you step up to the edge of the platform, kind of overlooking Gex and Isolde, and looking down across the way towards Jimmy, and you mold the earth. And just, so you want to describe how it moves, or just it happens?
So I think I can move a square of earth 5 feet by 5 feet. I can't do it fast enough to like cause damage or bury anybody against their will. So I think I can just like slowly just kind of draw it back in maybe a crescent shape, even kind of slowly making a ramp that they could walk back out of.
Perfect.
So I kind of
that's
just
exactly
pull
what
it
happens.
back, forwards, and
His head
make
and
a little
shoulders are the
slope
last
lizard.
thing. And Jimmy kind of pulls, and out comes Lisran, the large lizard folk ambassador from the dragon people that you're supposed to get to Tazrel, and he's gasping for breath, and oh, I do not like that much. Oh. And he claps Jimmy on the shoulder and looks around and kind of gives a nod up towards Matt sorry, not Matt. What's your character's name again? Balin?
Balin, yeah.
Balin. I'll put that in the card. There we
If
go.
I've got the time, I'd like to try to make that ramp into nice little steps,
Nice.
Ever the artisan, want
Sure.
to make sure it's quality work.
It's got to be to code, though. Not too much rise over run.
Exactly. Got to watch that grade.
Exactly. So you start molding that back and you spend a few minutes doing that, which actually goes a long way to making it much, much easier for Jimmy, Lesrin, Isolde, and Elias to walk out of this rather than doing climbing checks. So if you're willing to wait 5 minutes while you're chatting, that all happens. We'll jump ahead to when everybody is finally out of the wormhole, so to speak.
While I'm waiting, I am going to pull the orb out and try to study it a little better and figure out, is it still active, and can I draw the entity out of it again?
Okay, remind me. That that creature that you found in the tree?
Was it a fairy?
It was. Here's the thing. It flew up and shouted a warning and put itself between you and the worm at one point, and
Right,
it
and this fell
burst.
to the ground.
The bubble around it burst. I'm gonna need you to find what fell out of it. So I need you to do a perception
Did.
check for me, Donnie. Oh, you did already.
I did. Yes, I did
Oh,
pick
right.
it up.
You ran over and you carefully pull it back, and there's something about your druidic training that you instinctively know to be very, very careful. I need you to do either a medicine check or a survival check. Different DCs.
Oh, God. Neither one of them. All right, that one. Let's see. I'll go that way. What was the first one? Medicine?
Medicine
do
or
survival.
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 Would she be able to ask for help at all, or no?
I got a 16.
Okay, that's not bad. So, you gently pull away, and part of it is mud and muck, but you also see blood and like a viscous kind of liquid, and you see veins at one point, like, and you pull it away, and there's this whole blood vessel, like almost. It's bizarre. And this, I'll remind you, came out of a plant, so it's a bit odd to be digging through and getting this all at the same time. And now, after a while, with a 16, that's enough. You begin to peel away the outer layers of this kind of crescent roll kind of looking thing, and you reveal multicolored scales beneath. You pull back, and the prismatic light that reflects off of this from the torch that Jimmy is holding, being a human with no dark vision, and you then reveal a little bit more and a little bit more, and you see a clawed paw, and then you see a long neck, and over the next few minutes you reveal a small creature. You can do either a nature check or arcana check to know what it is.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure
I
I know
have-
what this is.
I have no benefit in either one of them, so let's go with nature, I guess. I got
With
11.
an 11. 11, unfortunately, you don't know what kind of creature this is. You do know that it's not a typical creature. You get that? It's not like a squirrel that's just like wearing scale mail. Although now I want to see that. But it's only about that size though, and it's dragon-like, but itty bitty and underformed. It's definitely extremely weak, and you do know. With your survival check, you know that this thing is still barely alive, but it doesn't look good. It needs something.
Needs healing.
The rest of you, what's your passive perception, Isolde?
15.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
That's better.
That's not bad.
I
Better
will
than
cast-
11.
I'll cast Cure Wounds on it.
Sure. Go ahead and roll the hit dice. Isolde, you can see that while everyone else is gathering up and talking about what just happened and kind of meeting Balin and kind of patting Wisdom on the shoulder, trying to bring them some comfort from, they look a little bit, their eyes a little bit sunken, a little bit sallow, a little bit disoriented. But while this is going on, Ashina seems to kind of be off on her own a little bit, and you see the slight of the glow of a kind of a greenish energy, very light, faint light, come out of their palm to their other hand. They seem to be holding something. So
I
Isolde,
got
you
10.
pick that up. 10.
I'm going to walk
Nice.
over for a better look.
Sure. Ashina?
As a blood hunter, that is of curiosity to me.
Sure. You see this small underdeveloped creature in Ashina's hand. And you can see that Ashina's trying to care for it and gives a healing burst. And it does kind of rolls and kind of tries to wrap itself in these wings that are way too small, and kind of curl itself into a tiny little ball, pressing itself into Ashina's hand as though seeking warmth.
What have you got there?
This is what was helping guide us.
It a fae?
I don't know what she is. It is, I'm guessing, it's cute. And if it feels like it needs warmth, I want to put it in between my breasts.
Mm-hmm. You kind of tuck it in, wrap it with a spare bit of cloth to kind of keep it there. Yeah, it definitely nuzzles in for warmth. Go ahead, Isolde.
Can I do a check to kind of explore using my Hunter's Bane to kind of recall what this might be and information about it?
Sure. Go ahead and roll either Arcana or Nature. I think at this point,
decisions.
Anyone with a passive perception of 14 or higher has now noticed the two of them kind of coming together. So you're welcome to talk
now. For the purposes of this, if this creature is fey, like for mechanics wise, I mean, I don't know how to role play this, but for mechanics wise, if it's a fey, fiend, or undead, I do have advantage on this check.
I was gonna say, I think you've got advantage for this.
23.
23. Woo! All right. Let me just see if I happen to have that on here. I don't. All right. Well, I'll have to look this up. This would be a fey creature, I believe. I'm gonna look it up. It seems like a fairy dragon nymph.
Pseudo dragon.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Now this is extremely undergrown. It does appear to be alive and okay, but it's not fully developed. And it wouldn't have been out of its protective shell at this point normally. However, in the tussle, it ended up in your care.
With part of my Hunter's Bane, I can recall information about them. So would I be able to discern how to best
nurture it?
Knowing that it's not technically supposed to be at this point out of its protective, like how we could reprotect it?
So you could, you get the idea that it was very close to blooming, as it were, but it was a little bit too early. It wasn't like it's not super preemie, but it's a preemie, and so
it's like 8 months instead of 9 months.
Not even that. It's probably like 8.5. Like it was close.
Okay.
It was real close, judging by what you know with a 23. And so it's got to be well protected. It's got to stay warm. It probably has enough. With a 23, you probably know that it will eat a variety of fruits and meats as well. But it's got to be basically pureed at this point because the teeth are still coming in. And so you know that it would, mama bird would chew it up and barf it into the mouth. That kind of care is the best you can do with a 23, which is, you get the idea that this creature might be able to be cared for.
All right, I'll take out some rations and start kind of grinding them down and trying to get them into kind of a pulpy
Yeah, you're gonna have to add some water and
mixture.
that. But yeah, you can
Yeah.
spend. Go ahead and roll a medicine check for me. See how well that goes.
We'll try. This one does not have advantage. I am not Timley. But I may be calling Timley to help.
You totally don't think of water. You're just making crumbs
Huh.
and like hardtack,
This-
and you've got some old sausage that's like,
Yeah.
you just carve off a piece and eat it, and it'll last without a fridge. So you're like basically prepping a meal that anyone would eat.
Okay. Well, I'll just keep smushing at it. Hopefully something good comes out of it that it can eat.
All right. Well, hopefully that goes better next time. You try to feed a little bit of this, and it retreats so far in that it actually falls out from between Ashina's breasts and goes into the armor, like belly area, and is like.
I don't wear armor.
Oh, okay. Well, into your whatever it is that you wear, and it's retreated further down away from the food, and all the rest of you just see Isolde trying to chase something into Ashina's bosom, like into the
tickling.
cleavage. Like, oh, take it. It's just
Tickling.
it's just a little awkward.
Tickling me.
Can I call for a meanwhile before we sort of catch up to this moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Talithar has sort of like picked Empty up, or in whatever way, like reached down, whatever you want to describe, and healed her, and she's very just like you described earlier, right? Sort of in this daze, not really sure. Looks up and it's like, "Did you just save me? I don't remember anything after it grabbed me." And then she like looks down and sees this weird shriveled like fleshy stalk that is just in her arms now, and she does not know what it is. And she probably like actually like flinches back and drops it. Like, what is that thing?
You pulled it out of the worm's mouth. It seemed different. Anyways, you pulled it out right before I stabbed it to death. And I just kind of take a look at the stalk, and I just do a divine sense.
Absolutely. So go ahead. Oh, you automatically get certain information. This it's not natural. Parts of it look like it's organic, and it's a little bit like the eye stalk that pops out of the water in A New Hope. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's not exactly that, but it's got like the kind of veiny kind of stalk bit that it looks kind of more firm than it has any right to be, and then the eye itself, which is now completely just floppy and just void of any animation, or the pupil is receded to almost a pinprick. It's not moving, but the interesting part is where it was connected to the worm. It looks more like it looks like almost as though these tendrils had extended out from it, and it kind of almost like the flatter part of the hand, but then within it are these roots that would have extended inside the worm creature, and the other part would have been grabbed onto the inside of its mouth, kind of way back in there, and it was kind of sticking down from the roof. If it had a roof of its mouth, if it wasn't symmetrical on all sides, it would have been right up in there, almost center, just a little off center, and the stalks of it would have been going up and in towards whatever functions as a brain for this massive purple worm. And because the worm is so big, those little tendrils, those roots, like the stalk itself is only about 1.5 feet from eyeball to the kind of grippy bit that would have burrowed in, and then the stalks extend like a good other 1.5 feet before they have clearly snapped when you grabbed and pulled them out. So there was more inside this thing. Looks like a nasty freaking parasite. And who's looking at this? This is Talithar and Empty, or just Talithar?
Both of us, I
Yeah.
think. And
We're
Okay.
there, yeah.
I'm gonna
So,
get
yeah.
you
and what I would
a perception check for me. All of that was
Okay.
basically free.
Sure. I'm saying I
Is
did.
it cool if Eli
did
joins
what?
them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all
Yeah.
kind of milling about, gathering yourselves.
I did what? And I like take a closer
Ooh.
look. I guess because I rolled a 22.
and I rolled a 21
22, 21,
and 21.
and Elias gets a 24. So the three of you gather around this thing, and it's that classic moment as you're starting to piece together, like, something put this in that worm, and it was spying on you, making this semi-intelligent creature do more than it could have on its own. And then it's your classic jump scare as this thing suddenly turns and looks at you, and you're just like, ah, and you jump back, and the tendrils of it are just slowly, the roots are just slowly sifting around as though looking for a new host. And you see that dilated pupil widen out to almost the full size of it. And now this the eyeball itself is bigger than my fist. So you're talking, what is that, like somewhere between like 5-6 inches diameter at the end bit of it, at the roundy bit, and the eyeball and it doesn't have any proper lids on it. It's almost fused, so it doesn't blink, but you can see the iris open up, and it's just like, and it's looking right at you.
Just say, like, I've seen this thing in my dreams. It's looking at us. We need to cover it up and bring it back.
Oh,
Does anyone have like a
okay.
jar or something?
A sack.
One of you has a sack, sure.
Put it in a
Okay.
sack that's not see-through.
I'm gonna hand my sack to Talithar and trust him with the job.
Sure. I mean, I'll do it. Just
Yeah, you take your mailed hand and grab it, or you're gonna, actually, Talithar, you just pick it up?
well, it's a mailed hand, and I know that it was ripped out. I'm probably gonna try to put the sack over it without touching it.
Sure. I'm gonna need you to do a dexterity saving throw, please.
Yeah. So I'm like standing behind you, and I'm just like, thanks for saving me. I don't. Poor thing, but thank you. I look over at this like carcass.
16.
Look back at the eye stalk, like, oh.
It's
Parasite.
moving relatively slowly, so you only needed a 12, but that could have been real interesting. So as you're putting it in, one of the roots kind of gets a little close to your hand. You're like, pull back, and you're like, nudge it, like with the tip of your sword, and then nudge it back in, and then finally you get this thing in the sack, and you're holding this up, and it's just swaying there.
We should
All
take
right.
this back with us. Yes. Oh, Jimmy, do you have my helmet? I just look over at Jimmy's. He's coming up.
Yeah, I got you, mate.
And he passes
Okay.
it over to you.
Welcome back.
All right. So the rest of you gather yourselves and ready yourselves to continue your journey. Jimmy points the way through. He's like,
Right, we're gonna have to go that way.
first of all, my apologies to Jay. I make no assumptions on your voice for your character. My bad. I'ma mess that up.
So yeah, it's that way down there. We're almost there. It's not too much further. We took the shortcut. Glad that worked out.
Good. When we get there, can we take a bit of a rest? Holy crap. I'm
Definitely.
exhausted. Like, I'm wiped.
Gex is
I'm barely on my feet as well.
yeah. Gex has also got a point of exhaustion.
Yeah, definitely interested in making camp.
Do you want to make it here in the swamp or further in?
No.
No.
There's a
Further
lot
in.
of ground getting, basically thrown up by little geysers everywhere. So not here.
I wanted to be in the mountains. Just pointing that out. He starts walking.
All right. So as you begin to go away, I need everybody to do either a survival check or a dexterity saving throw. Actually, let's go with survival checks. One person can helm, and somebody else gives advantage, or two people can roll.
I'm happy to roll.
I rolled
Can roll.
23.
I just rolled a 20 plus 2, so
Damn.
Okay, I
All right.
guess we're all rolling.
Now, you know what? Everybody
I rolled
rolls
a
survival.
19.
We'll do this by survival.
I rolled a 23.
Not bad. Woo!
Oh,
Damn, Izzle.
It's my jam. What can I say?
Since I'm rolling with disadvantage still.
That's right. All right, so Gex gets the 6. Hilda comes up with the big 17. We've got Elias with a 15, which is fine. The threshold isn't super high because you're aware of it because Hilda pointed out some of the dangers that she spotted earlier. Then we've got our rock stars up here with Empty Wisdom surprisingly alert, just kind of like pointing stuff out as they're walking along with a 19. Ashina being a druid, of course, relatively comfortable in multiple environments, easily threading your path through. Then we've got Balin has been in this swamp for a little while and is busy pointing out, like, oh, I came through here with his nat 20 plus 2. Absolutely. So you are, and then of course, Isolde is just like stepping through, like scouting ahead, sometimes circling around. And I'm going to say this, Isolde, you get this for free. As you're going through the swamp, you kind of climb up on a tree waiting for the others, kind of scouting away. You look behind, you can't see it, but you see signs that behind you, you see these birds. Like, it's getting, I don't remember what time of day it was. Pardon me. I don't remember what time of day it was, but let's say it's getting on. Oh no, you were traveling through the night, right?
Yeah, we were traveling through the night.
Yeah.
To
So,
avoid the
You
other-
hear
Well,
some-
we got stuck in the night.
so it's coming up on dawn now. It's probably about 4:30 in the morning. Sun comes up around 5:36, maybe somewhere in there. And Isolde, with your half-elf eyes and just your sense of the area, you hear it's actually, you can hear some random sounds, and you got pretty used to the sounds of the swamp, and you can hear things kind of fall silent further behind. The frogs stop chirping. Some of the creatures that normally move around when people aren't there suddenly stop moving and seek hiding spots. Now it's pretty far back. Like, your group is pretty far ahead of where this is, but you can kind of get the idea that there's something moving on the far end of the swamp, and kind of interrupting the flow of the normal night.
X.
Yeah.
Could be nothing, but there's definitely something in that direction. It's pretty far away, but it's whatever it is, the wildlife doesn't like it.
We're
They're
not
hiding.
alone.
We are definitely not alone.
Well, let's go away.
I don't know if it's our chasers or something
Yeah.
different, but it's something.
Let's definitely go a direction that is not that way.
And
It is
fast.
from behind you. The path
Yeah.
you came from.
Yeah. It's going the opposite. It's from the opposite.
It's behind
I can't.
us.
Yeah, it's behind us, but I can't discern if it's coming toward us or somewhere else. But we should probably move quicker rather than
Yeah, let's go. I
Slower.
was already walking.
Now, you haven't slowed the pace, but at this point, maybe you pick it up a little bit, and you, with all those rolls, you make it through the rest of the swamp without further incident. But you can't shake that feeling that something is nearby, and
Something's
you might be.
following us.
Yeah. All right, Jimmy pipes up and is like,
All right, it's just down the other way. We're gonna get to the coast, then we'll head due south, and we can't miss it. Oh, one more thing. As we go into town, let's just don't mention my name, but let me do the talking at first, and then I'll introduce us. We're gonna come in groups of 2, just so we don't spook anybody, because we're a freaking army here.
Okay.
Okay.
Odd question. What time of day is it right now?
it's about
It's about 4 in the morning.
4:30. But by this time, it's about 4:30. You've been traveling,
Yeah, okay.
and you're crossing an island, so you're almost to the other side. You can actually hear the waves getting coming up ahead. After a bit more hiking, you come out onto it. Actually, the forest falls away relatively quickly. So you went from swamp to proper forest, kind of foothills, and kind of heading up towards the north, towards the mountains that Gex keeps gazing at whenever he gets the chance. But you come out kind of suddenly out, and you hear the crashing of the ocean, and you feel the salt on your face. It's a fresh breeze of the sea. However, it is far below you. You're actually standing up on some cliffs on what is normally considered an impassable side of the island. There's these massive 50 to 100 to 300 foot cliffs, depending on where you are, and they drop off rather suddenly. And you're now maybe 30 feet from the edge of between the forest and the drop off, at the sheer drop off of these points sticking out into the surf, and you can't see very well in the dark. I know everybody's got dark vision, but the ocean is so far away that even those with dark vision can only make it out vaguely, that there's a pretty big fall, and then there's cliff face goes along perpendicular to where you are, and so you turn towards the south and keep walking that way. If anybody gets an idea or wants to do anything along the way, feel free to interrupt.
Yeah, I'd like a short scene. Just like
Sure.
we're walking, time is passing, stuff's happening. I picture Empty is sort of, in the course of this, shuffled over to where Balin is, and sort of just like sidles up next to them while walking, and it's like, sir, you weren't here when we left, right?
No, I was not. Why do you ask?
Okay, I don't know where we're going. I don't really remember leaving town. So, I just wanted to be sure.
To be quite honest, I don't know where we're going either, but I owe a debt of gratitude to your friends here for saving my life. So I'm along for the ride until I've saved at least one person's life in thanks.
Yeah, that sounds like a good thing to do. I'm Empty Wisdom.
I'm Balin. A pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure. So many people. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's a larger group than I'm used to being around as well. When I'm not at home, I'm usually much more of a solitary traveler. But it's nice to have company for the road.
I guess.
And Balin, you feel a big clawed reptilian hand thump onto your shoulder from well above you. You turn and you're like waist height, and you track upwards of this massive lizard folk man towering over you at almost 8 feet tall. And he looks down at you and gives you a nod, and his forked tongue flicks out, tasting the salt air, and he looks down at you and then over at Wisdom and is like, yes, we are a long way from home.
So I look up at the giant lizard man and hello, my friend. I don't believe we've been properly introduced either. This is the guy that I pulled out of the earth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
My name is
I know what it's like to
Lesthran.
have your head stuck in sand, so we can share that experience.
My name is Lesthran. I am a representative of my people. All these.
And who are your people, Lesren?
We live on the spines. We worship the dragons. My direct lord is Pilke the Mighty. But I represent and speak for all of my peoples.
I can tell him who my lord is.
And he leans
so-
down to like be only about a foot above you, his head kind of looking down, is still walking, and he looks down at you and he goes, "Thank you for pulling me out."
I'm glad to be of service. You know, the I call and the earth answers. Happy to put that skill to service for you. I'm Balin Iron Eater, the clan Iron Eater, and my lord is King Durval. We live in the we're one of the first generations to reclaim the old lands of Illifarn. So it's a pleasure
Just
to meet.
since you mentioned it,
a great
Illifarn is
wizard
going to
man.
be on the coast, almost directly north of these chain of islands. And Tazvarel it's pretty hard to get to Illithorn. From by land, it's a little bit easier by sea, which is why it's not uncommon to have dwarf port bringing their goods that they find. But a lot of this isn't firmly established yet. As you said, it's kind of early generation. So the trade networks haven't reopened, but the old road that did lead inland is nigh impassable. So you've definitely hopped on a ship at some point and ended up on this island, which is one of the neutral ports, not too far from the Spines, which is the dragon cult area. And this is definitely a dragon cultist. And you can see they've got this massive miniature model of a dragon skull around their neck by these big, thick chains, just kind of thumping along. It's made out of some kind of metal, but he strikes an imposing. He seems oddly quiet, but he does strike an imposing figure.
Would I know what kind of metal it is? It's kind of like my character's favorite thing.
It's actually it would be carefully molded and chiseled obsidian, like melted. Yeah. So, but it seems to be shellacked in something that protects it, because normally obsidian shatters pretty easily. So there seems to be some kind of very interesting shellac on it. And when you get a look at this, there are parts of it that were very carefully chiseled away, but there's other parts that are perfectly smooth but incredibly well crafted. And you're like, how did they do that? So go ahead and roll your craft. So it's your intelligence or wisdom and your proficiency bonus.
Yeah, as a dwarf though, I've got that like stone cunning or whatever to identify the history of anything made of like stone, or I assume obsidian might count. I get to roll history with a double bonus, right?
Go ahead and roll it with double bonus, and I would even say with advantage, because it's your jam. And it's pretty much eye level at this point as he's leaning down over you.
One of those really cool abilities that almost never gets used. It's nice. It's cool.
That's what I'm here for.
So I would have a 27 then.
Damn. Okay, you notice a few things about this special necklace. Number one, it has been chiseled, but it's also been carefully melted using a kind of acidic or caustic thing that is unbelievable. Like, you understand that you sometimes use these things in the refining of metals, but this would have been like crazy caustic. Like, anybody working with this would have to be mad like, this stuff would be very difficult to contain and work with. The second thing is in the way that it shifts, even in the light, in the low light. you see it shift, and you see some of these etchings and carvings especially in the back of it, but even within it, there's very carefully disguised enchantments. It is a fairly heavily enchanted item that he wears around his neck. And now the rest of them is like rough hides and like pretty much topless rough hides and like a sash, kind of bandolier style.
Dressed like a Conan protagonist.
A little bit. Like, it doesn't... Those two things, like a heavily enchanted item that would have taken a lot of craftsmanship, compared to, like, dudes wearing, like, really rough clothes for what you would expect. Like, I mean, he's got a nice mantle, like a nice cloak, but other than that, it's nothing to write home about. But this is easily the most valuable thing that he carries.
So, real quick, how do I spell this guy's name, just so I can put it in my
Lesran?
notes?
It is spelled LES_RAAN.
Right on, okay.
And he is the
So,
emissary of the dragon cult.
Okay, emissary. So, emissary Lesran.
Or ambassador. Yeah.
So it's a pleasure to share the road with you. I'd just like to compliment that beautiful piece of artwork you have around your neck there. I can, as a craftsman, I can see that that whoever made that poured their heart and soul into that. It's even us dwarves would have a hard time making something like that, even with our crafting magic. So it's a beautiful piece.
This was a gift from my patron and their family. It is what allows me to speak on their behalf. It is a sign of my station and the greatest honor that has ever been bestowed upon me. You have a good eye, dwarf.
Thank you. I have my master to thank for that. It was many long hours of training.
Now, just between you and me, if I end up buried and you are not able to pull me out, pull this out and save it before me. Should it come to this, it would be a pity for craftsmanship to fall.
While I will make your I do value your life, and it will still be a priority for me. I'll also honor that request. I'll if ever the case happens where you don't make it back from an adventure, I'll make sure that amulet is returned safely to your people for you.
Thank you. All right. You keep walking south along the edge, winding back. After a while, you come across what looks like a nearly impossible stretch where it actually climbs up, and you're a good, almost 300 feet off the ocean to your right. And now you got a good 30, 40 feet of pathway between you and the forest, so it's not too bad. And it begins to rise up on the left as well, the hill, kind of cutting it off. And then as you round a curve, the rocks are in such a way that if you were looking at this from any other angle, from north, from south, even from out at sea, it would be very easy to miss this bend and inlet where the rocks kind of fall away and down to the left, while the rest of the hill continues to climb as it rises up. You now follow a path along a very narrow path now. It's getting down to like 10 feet or so. Then in some places even 5 feet, hugging the curve, carving along the edge of this cliff. On your right, starts out at almost 300 feet, and then descending as it goes. So fairly quickly, you're dropping to 150 feet, 200 feet. I'm going to need everybody just to do either your choice, acrobatics or athletics, just to see how well you navigate this rather twisty, windy route.
Can I choose the lower of the two just for fun?
If you do that, I will give you an inspiration for later.
Cool.
Sorry, which are the two options we got?
I got 12.
Or athletic.
Now, no reason.
Oh,
I just want to point
natural
out.
20.
Wow. Okay. So Ashina rocks out a 22 acrobatics, just carefully picking your way through. Wow. Okay, Hilda is just clinging to this cliff, just at 27. All right. We got Valen coming in with a 19, doing just fine. Lesrin and Jimmy seem to be not as good as everybody else, but they're kind of trailing along, able to make the way. Jimmy's kind of taking his time, picking his route, being very careful. You've got Isolde coming in with a 20. You've got Empty Wisdom at disadvantage, coming in at a 12, which you stumble and you do the whole like your foot slips and then hits a rock that was unstable, and you hear it off the side. Splash. So even though you can't see it very well, somewhere below you there is water. And then of course there is Elias. Now, Elias, Brandon, I want to point out that in my game I don't know how portent works exactly. Maybe I should read it again carefully. But
I've
will
used
allow...
up all of my I used it up.
So you don't have
all the way in the first session.
Okay. So with your 5, I'm going to say, as you're kind of clinging to the side, and everybody else is like going down like it's no big deal, and you're just like, I'm gonna need you to roll for a panic attack. So we'll count that as either a charisma save or a wisdom save, whichever one you prefer.
Jesus Christ.
Wisdom save of 11. You are your legs refuse to move as you were at this very narrow bend. Kind of it's almost like what do they call them? Almost 90-degree turn at the point, and you're just almost at the point, just clinging to the cliffside, and your hands and feet will just not move. You're just clinging to the dirt and the roots at the side and the rocks at the side, and your legs just refuse to move. And as you're standing there, like, this is where Empty Wisdom's rock falls away, and you just, it's almost like in your mind, with those little flashes, you get these divination moments where it's like you are the rock for a brief moment. You see yourself bounce, splash into this river. At this point, you actually kind of see the river is wider at the base than either side of the cliff would normally allow. So it's actually hollowed out under there. So it's wider down below, making almost a cavern. But it's pretty far down. It's like still a good 130 feet down. And you are just locked. Everybody else is moved on. You're now at the back.
Can I say that Empty's also stopped?
Sure.
Like, you said I was right there, kind of, and I
Yep.
see this. And I'm like, yeah, I feel it.
Can I panic? Well, so quick question. If I am on the ethereal plane, am I still bound to like the physical? Like, would he still feel a panic of being like on the cliff, or would he be able to just like walk along a plane almost?
If you can actually physically go to the ethereal plane, and there's certain spells that allow you to to move that way, like a blink spell.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, that might be worth a try if you want to give it a go. Your regular travel speed through this section would normally be 30 or maybe 15 feet if you were being careful, like Jimmy is. Everybody else is kind of going at regular pace. You would only be able to travel 10 feet at a time. But it is possible if you want to try that.
Can I try to, like, while you're thinking about this, like, reach out to Elias? I don't have, like, any special monk moves or anything, but, like, it feels like the kind of thing that I might be able to talk you through some breathing exercises and stuff, like meditative, centering yourself type of thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm going to get you, rather than you leading us on a brief yoga break, I'm gonna get you to do it as a dice roll. So, what skill do
Yeah,
you
it seems
think would
better.
apply there? Not that there's anything wrong. This is apparently Dungeons and Jazz.
It's either a like I need to be able to empathize with them, so it's like an insight type thing, or it might be I need to be able to communicate non-verbally to them, so it's a performance type thing, or maybe it's not a skill at all and it's just either a charisma or a wisdom check. So those would be my thoughts to you, GM.
Let's go.
But yeah,
with,
just breathe.
let's go with an
breathe.
insight
You've
check.
seen death. You can do this. Insight? Okay, that's what I'm best at.
No worries,
That's
Bella.
a
We'll see
16.
in a minute.
Wow, that's a bad roll.
All right, a 16 is not
Damn,
quite enough
plus
to
9.
break Elias out of their funk. Although it is enough to give you that pause, that reset moment. Everybody else is continuing along. Elias, what is it you want to do?
Would I notice them stopped?
Eventually, yeah.
I think we all would.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. He would definitely. Yeah, I think he's gonna panic cast.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you go ahead and cast which spell?
Blink.
All right. So empty wisdom is busy like breathe in, out, don't look down, you'll be okay. We're all here, and then
Yeah, he looks down and immediately blinks.
yeah, and there's this really quick like mumbled chant and a frantic hand motion, and then empty, you start reaching and then thinking that Elias is gonna topple over the edge, and they almost do. They're just like and falling forward, and then just when they would normally like go past the edge of the cliff, their body just disappears, and it's this moment where you were expecting a 120-foot fall, and Elias, you're just hovering over the edge of this cliff on the ethereal plane, just like trying to breathe, and everything's kind of that misty gray color, and you can make out your surroundings enough, and everything seems oddly a little better lit in this plane. There's a strange sourceless light here, and what do you want to do now? Empty or anybody else?
Yeah, I would like to have screamed a little bit. Everyone can like turn around and see what's happening if they want.
In fact,
I
I'm gonna say,
I did hear a chant. It said, "Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!"
and then Elias is gone from vision. You're just like,
Yeah, I'd be looking over the edge, seeing if there's anybody I can try to cast levitate on if they're falling off.
sure, do a perception
Yeah, that's
check.
probably what you'd think, right? You'd look back and be like, "Oh, well, Elias isn't there," and I screamed. Someone must have fallen. Yeah.
All right, you all gather
Terrible
around the edge
perception,
and
I
start
got a
making
9.
plans. What was yours?
9.
9. You can't see Elias, the half elf wizard. He was here, and now he's got. And you're trying to look down, and you see dark water and rocks, jagged rocks, and you don't see the edges of it. You just see the far side of the cliff, which is probably like 30, maybe 40 feet across to the other side, which is an almost identical cliff face. And you're looking down, and you can't see a body. You can't see, like, maybe they landed in the water. It's hard to tell. Isolde,
Not
what do
even
you?
a splash.
Did anybody see what happened to Elias?
So
He's gone. He's gone.
he does appear back in like 5 seconds.
Comes right in
Yeah.
behind
I
as
mean,
everybody
you can
is
do a
now
lot of
standing,
panicking in
leaning
6
over the
seconds.
cliff. Yeah, you're all looking over the cliff, looking, and Elias, you appear behind them. You see them all huddled and looking after where down over the cliff.
Is he?
Oh.
Does he appear frightened? Is he like panicky still?
None of you have noticed him. You're all looking
Oh,
over
we
trying
haven't,
to
okay.
find the body.
Okay.
I would say he's definitely like breathing a bit hard, but considering he just looked into the eyes of death earlier today, I don't think he's like super afraid, but he's just a bit, on edge.
And you've made your way around the far side.
And he's just like, sorry, this just might take me a little while longer.
I'm
Anybody
gonna
got a rope?
Everybody everybody, I need you to do let's say a wisdom saving throw.
Before we do, I mean, I just saw Tivoli saying in the chat, imagine that we're jump scared and we all fall over. Can we plot point that? Let's just completely derail your plans.
What do you think the wisdom saving throw is for?
Yeah, no, that's why I'm trying to do it before we roll. I don't want to negate anyone's rolls.
Oh, it just happens.
It just happened.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Because of your plot point, I'm gonna set the DC.
Nobody else
wicked
wants
high.
it. It's fine.
No. You don't understand. I want this. All right. Let's do rollies.
You, GM.
Here's my D20. You gotta beat this as your. I'm gonna add a little.
What are we doing? Dex save? Is that what it was?
This is a wisdom saving
Dex.
throw.
Wisdom save.
Oh, nice. Cool, 18.
All right. So call them out. What do we got? We got Isolde with a 15. What you guys can call your own, or I can read them off.
I got a 15.
Just be aware, everyone within 10 feet of me, you get +4.
Ooh, nice.
I got a 19 then.
Talithar.
19
ice.
for me as well.
Nice. Talithar with ice in your damn veins, and another 19 from Gordon with a total of 28. All right, and Gex comes in at 22. Nobody got under a 12.
Good.
Although, I will say, Hilda was closest with a 14. So you all have well, not all of you. A few of you have that moment of, as Elias kind of walks up behind, but not Talithar. You are ice cold, man. Doesn't scare you at all. Same thing with anybody over 20. Is like just like, oh, okay, and just it ain't no thing. Everybody else, you're just like a little shook.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness. How did you get back there? We thought you went over the edge.
No, just heights aren't my thing, so it just might take me a while. And then he's just gonna. Well, I guess I have to roll to see if I.
Technically.
I will walk over and lay my hand upon your shoulder, and I will cast Spider Climb on you, and explain to you, cling to the wall. You will not fall.
You would. You have to roll high or low to have blanket take effect.
Let's roll 11 or higher.
It's 11 or higher, so he just doesn't. He's still on. He's just kind of chilling on the cliff now.
You're a little bit around the corner from where you froze, so you've made progress, but you're just like, And Ashina does cast Spider Climb on you, and you can feel your hands clinging to the rock. You're trained. You understand what this does, so you are able to Spider Climb if you wish now, taking some of that edge off.
Cool.
Right. And with that,
gives a thumbs up.
And with that, the party manages to navigate, following Jimmy down through the winding crevasse, leading you to where it begins to open up. And you see almost like a small lake. The sides of the cliffs fall away to be less extreme as you wind your way down. It's still quite a valley, and would be a very difficult climb out by hand. However, well, not for Elias right now. However, this valley opens up, this small hidden cove, and Jimmy turns to you all and says,
we made it. We didn't lose anybody this time. Thanks. All right. Welcome. Welcome to Smugglers Cove. Watch your step. They get a little picky. Just remember, you're with me. Oh, and one last thing. Let me know if anybody starts asking around for me by name. No big deal. Let's go. 2 by 2.
And he leads you off. Yep.
Didn't you just say you didn't want us to use your name?
Well, with certain, just play it by ear. But if somebody asks for me, that's a good thing. If nobody asks for me, just tell them you are an affiliate. Affiliate. Everybody got that? You're an affiliate. You're gonna be part of my team, my crew, my people. But if they really press, yeah, tell them you're here with me. But some people might not like me here. It's fine. It's a thing. It's good. It's fine. Lots of people like me here. It's great.
So who are we gonna pair off with?
That's up to you.
Really quickly, did Isolde and Gex tell anyone about like feeling something following them, or did they keep that to the?
I would have said it probably loud enough that others would have. I mean, depending how close, because I would have been up in the lead. So I don't know where Gex would have been at that point.
I was assuming the only reason I heard it was because you were telling everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Eli's gonna run up to Gex and be like, I'll go in last, but if you want, if you wait 10 minutes, I can maybe put something out there to see if someone's still following us.
Well, that was kind of my plan, was to be the last one to go in too, and spend time finding my familiar again.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So Gex and Elias will take up as rear guard. Everyone else pairs off. And
I'll pair off with Isolde.
Sure.
Since I already know her.
Yep.
I'll go with Little Empty.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Balin and Lesrin, maybe?
Yeah, I was gonna say either Lesson or Empty Wisdom I would probably team up with. I've talked to them the most.
Fair. And then Jimmy will go on ahead. You...
Timely?
Oh, and yeah. Let's do Jimmy and Hilda. Sure. So you'll be going in with him. He kind of extends his arm in a kind of charming manner and kind of offers you his hand, his arm there, Hilda. And you begin to enter. Now, this is a lake surrounded by, not cliffs, but high walls around the outside of natural rock and forest. And then in the middle of this lake, you can see finger docks and several ships of varying sizes, some of them as small as like a junker rowboat, maybe some modified fishing vessels. And you see a longship, or two actually there, style ship. It's not a big enough cove for a galleon, but those smaller vessels, maybe a small sloop might be at the docks even. It's hard to tell in the distance. As you get to this point, the sun is becoming, well, you don't see the sun yet, but the horizon is beginning to get lighter. And, oh no, all right, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Timely, for letting me know. Mic issues. We'll definitely try to get that sorted on break, which we're coming up to in just a moment. So as
flashback.
I'm sorry?
I need a flashback before we get halfway down the cliff.
Yep.
I am going to cast plant growth behind us to distract anybody that was following us.
Nice. Okay, go ahead and mark off that spell slot as you, as the roots and trees and grasses and vines all kind of thicken and grow at an incredible pace, blocking off the entire path behind you, clinging to the cliff and beyond. And it is now very difficult to climb through. And it would be nigh impossible to follow you along that path. Jimmy sees this happen. He turns to you. Asheen is like,
Nice. I should have had you on my team the whole time.
come on.
You'll be useful.
And Ashina, you kind of turn and start walking towards the small village down in the bottom of this, where the finger docks are. There's a collection of kind of a ramshackle scattershot of strange buildings. Some of them made of stone, some of them thatch, some of them driftwood. It's a real hodgepodge. And now the cliff does rise up in a few places very close to the water too, providing even more cover. So it looks like some of the docks actually go right along the edge of the cliff. So it's a real kind of hidden cove.
Well, welcome to Smugglers Cove, everybody. We're almost there.
Okay.
All right. So, and at this point, I think as a as a gaming group, we're going to take a little break. Let's say maybe a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back in our entrance to Smugglers Cove. Thanks, everybody. All right.
That'll give Timley a chance to fix her stuff.
Timothy's going to go punch her microphone back into submission. Everybody else, we get 10 minutes. I'm going to get a beverage. Internet, you're beautiful and wonderful, and you deserve something. Go give yourself a treat right now, please. What is if you're live, you can post in comments what it is you're going to treat yourself with. If not, then you can just hit us up on Instagram and tell us what snack did you go for, or bevy, or whatever your flavor is. So have yourself a wonderful break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Cheers.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Well, our sponsor this week is once again Giuseppe Lombardi's Pizza. Previously, Giuseppe Lombardi had wonderful success with their launch of spherical pizzas. Having a rotisserie cooked spherical pizza, around 4,000 calories per serving, was a great hit. So since then, Giuseppe Lombardi has branched out into what he is calling the cubic calzone. You tired of round pizzas? Looking to square up your diet? Looking to make your experimental experience more three-dimensional? We got the length, we got the width, we got depth, we got inches upon inches, so much volume. Cheese on the inside, cheese on the outside, sliced pepperoni, why bother? With the roominess inside this cubic pizza, you can slide in the whole load. Try our 2-for-1 combo called the Double Team. Cubic calzone from Giuseppe Lombardi's Pizza. Todd's gonna be okay soon.
I always wanted a pizza with some girth. Do you have pizza with girth?
Oh god.
Girth measures circumference, so no. That was the previous one. You missed that. You missed it.
I missed it.
That was old news. We don't do that anymore.
Wait, no, that is over now. This will
Well,
never be.
it's the difference between the radius versus diameter versus circumference area.
This is way too much math. Why am I stuck in this sound effect? I'm stuck in a sound effect and I can't make it go. There we go.
Are you? You sound fine.
Oh, really?
All
To
right.
me, it sounds all funny. There we go. Check now.
That's
One,
funny,
two.
yeah.
Whatever. It's good. We'll just do the whole game like I'm speaking from a telephone.
Whether or not you're Jimmy or your DM, we'll never know.
Exactly. Hey, I'm glad you picked up that I use the Jimmy voice every time I cut to this. All right, let me just punch this in the nugget for a second here.
You okay?
And we have some technical difficulties. Please wait while we do some technical things to solve the technical difficulties.
It's that pizza. I wasn't ready for it. It was too girthy.
Just cut to another commercial.
All right.
We'll just do a rerun of an old commercial.
Quick.
Old mice deodorant. Strong enough for elves, soft enough for a sea hag.
All right,
Great
I think we're
sense,
back.
like
We're
pig
back.
And mackerel.
That's a great one. I love that. Can we use that?
Why? Was cutting to commercial break while you fixed technical difficulties.
All right, quick cue commercial. All right, thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate that very much. Let's give a quick little yay, Steve. Woo. All right, so where were we? Right, you were walking into the Smuggler's Cove. Let's go take a look. I have to 1 sec. I have to take the song off my list. There we go. All right. Why is this not working all of a sudden? What the shit, man? My sound settings got all weird. All right, hold on.
It's pretty much par for the course, Todd.
Pardon?
I said that's pretty much par for your course.
I know.
Weird
To
sound
be,
issue.
in my defense, this whole setup is wired 6 ways backwards from Sunday. It is all over the place. Like, I've got... one time, I'll just stream just my technical setup. It is madness, layered upon madness, held together with hope and duct tape. Alright, why? I don't know why. My audio is just screwed up. Anyway, it's all good. Whatever. So, let's play Dungeons and Dragons. Thank you for joining us. And hey, we now are on Twitch. Yay! We finally got that mess up all fixed. So, yeah, hopefully that works out for us. So, you have now entered the hidden cove that is known as Smugglers Cove. Shut up, it worked in my head. So, Jimmy takes the lead and sorry, go ahead.
I said it's a franchise. Sorry, no, shut up. Never mind.
Jimmy,
So-
the first thing we were looking for is a place to rest.
Absolutely.
Need someone for somewhere to moor your boat?
Can we not get into a brawl this time?
We could.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Just lay low. And so we were gonna come in 2 by 2, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. I'll signal you, okay?
So after a couple minutes, Hilda and Jimmy go on ahead. So Hilda, what you notice as you're walking forward is this whole cove. You can definitely approach from other angles, but the main area has a small palisade, like a wooden wall with sharpened spike tops, and then there's a kind of an entrance, a gate of sorts. But it's actually just a propped up section where like they could just kick out some support boards and it'll fall down into place. But the wall actually ends at what is essentially a difficult climb, but not like impossible climb off to the left. And it doesn't attempt to wrap around the whole cove. That would be ridiculous. Most of this is impassable anyway. So you get the idea that this is mostly just something to slow people down. So you end up approaching this gate, and Jimmy kind of motions, kind of standing next to you, and offers you his arm as he walks forward. And do a perception check for me there, Hilda.
Okay. Perception.
Perception.
Well, not very perceptive. I rolled a 5 + 1 = 6.
So you see the wooden palisade. You see Jimmy walking forward, kind of keeping his hands at his side, but a little bit out, so that like obviously unarmed. And he kind of just motions you to stay put for just like a few seconds. And he walks forward and he calls out, and he speaks in a kind of you don't understand thieves' camp, do you?
Not one of my proficient languages.
No problem. So
if I can remember the gestures that Rook and Gex used to trade.
you know that he's doing something that's communicative, but it's not super, like, you don't understand what he's saying. The nuances are lost on you. But he definitely walks ahead and kind of makes a few gestures of some kind, and then he calls out in words that don't really make sense. Like he's like, "Yeah, breadbasket, coming back into the
With the thing.
I don't know what that was. Sorry, wrong button. Apparently my hotkeys are set funny. Anyway, so he says some weird things and just waits. And there's this super awkward pause for a few minutes while it's just like, okay, I don't know what's happening. And then after a little while, Jimmy turns around and gives you a nod and kind of walks forward. And and it seems like you read him more than you read the scenario. So he seems to be pleased and seems confident. Now he often seems confident, but he actually seems a little bit your passive insight. Like, what's your insight skill?
My passive insight is 11.
So you get the idea that he's generally pleased with the moment, and he seems fairly confident, and he kind of motions you forward to join him about 15 feet from the palisade entrance, and then he walks in through the gate, and you see on either side of the gate these little platforms, and there is a walkway across on the far side of the palisade, and there's like 18 people there, like 9 on one side, 9 on the other, all of them with frickin' crossbows, all of them aimed towards the entrance as you're walking through, and about 4 of them are tracking you still as you walk through into this kind of open square area. It's mud ground, nothing is permanent here. You see like ramshackle buildings, you can see kind of the down towards the docks is off to your right, and directly ahead is kind of a center square and a couple of buildings kind of marking the entrance to the town, and they're a good like 50 feet back, and you see a ton of armed crossbow wielding people just behind the wall, and you did not see them before.
Yeah, not with a 6 on that perception roll.
Not so much with a 6.
So, I mean, the good news is that they haven't fired. So, I'm assuming whatever exchange happened between Jimmy and was a good exchange.
That
so
went surprisingly well.
He whispers to you.
And so
We're not
I
dead yet.
turn. Well, yeah, I can see that. Thank you. And I whisper to Jimmy, so will they let the rest of our crew in as well? Because they're right there behind us.
Jimmy kind of gives a shrug, and he's like,
It's probably fine. Tell you what, I'm gonna send you along. There's a tavern ahead. Internet, if you were there and you want to share.
hold on, this is Todd for a second. Internet, if you want to give us a name for the tavern, I don't yet have a name, but we'll just call it the tavern. So if you want, you can type it into chat, and we'll use your name. So
it's
Jimmy
either
looks-
really vulgar or really subtle. One of those two.
Yeah, nothing in between. Nothing like a pig's ear. Like we want we want to swing for the extremes. It's either really nice or really awful.
Salty clam.
Oh, well, I mean,
Good name
the
for a
sailor's clam,
tavern.
maybe.
The rusty
That's-
bucket.
Oh,
Hard rock.
these are good in chat. Internet, if you want to chime in, you do get slight priority over my players. No offense, but absolutely.
Todd, you gotta write these down because you're gonna be making like at least another 3 taverns in this
That's
game
true.
alone.
All right,
That's
we're gonna
true.
pause.
I know you.
And we're going to read some of these
Contextually.
names that are coming in. You guys were just fucking waiting. Wow. That's amazing.
Uh.
All right. We got the Rusty Bucket. We got the Tavern. We've got the Hard Rock Cove. We got the Sailor's Rusty Clam. Oh my God. We've got the Salty Clam. Oh my God. And of course, Internet, if you want to jump on the chat, we will take your names for our taverns. Thank you so much. The bounty is plentiful. Thank you so much. All right. So Jimmy looks at you, Hilda, and says,
So I'm gonna make sure that the rest make it through safely, and you go on over to the tavern, and we'll meet you there. Oh, one last tip. This is mostly smugglers, but there's some pirates, so try not to piss people off too much. Good luck to you.
Okay. And
You are charming. You won't need to worry. I'm kind of worried more about that Gex fella.
he means well, but then his proclivity for
Yeah, there's something about him that's just not
Certainly.
very trustworthy.
all right. Not all right that I agree that Gex is untrustworthy because obviously I've entered with him, but I just said, all right, okay, so that's the plan. You get the rest of our crew in, and I'll see if I can grab us a table at this tavern.
Yeah, we're gonna need a
And-
table for like 9.
It'll be a huge dining table, hopefully.
And 10. We have our the Emperor with us.
Oh yeah, Lesrin. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right,
Ambassador,
good luck.
not.
Go
Alright,
place a
good luck.
reservation. See how long it'll take for the table to open up. And you know what? Wait, let me think. At that tavern, you know what? At the tavern, you can use my name. That'll be okay.
Okay, I was gonna ask about that too. Yeah.
All right. I'll see you in a bit.
Right.
So Jimmy sends you on your way, and he turns around and heads back towards the entrance and kind of just posts up just outside, just kind of waiting for the next group. So who's the next pair that approach?
Sheena, you wanna go ahead and
Ashina
head
and
in?
Isolde.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
So Ashina, Isolde, you approach the same palisade entrance. Go ahead and do either a perception check or a persuasion check or a deception check or an intimidation check. However you want to approach this. Go take it away.
I'm going with perception.
As did I.
You both,
Hey, look at us.
you both hit 20. Sheena with the 21. So as you approach, you get that slight. Maybe you're not as new as you thought, Isolde. You know when you're being watched, and you get this little feeling in the back of your neck. You're just like, there are eyes on me right now. And you look out, and you see this wooden palisade with the spiked tops. And then you see these tiny little gaps in between the logs. And sticking out between the gaps, you can just, your half-elf eyes can make out the glints of over a dozen crossbow bolts aimed your way. You can see a few of them have poked up just between the kind of triangle peaks of the conical peaks of the. I'm sorry, math. We got to get this right. Conical peaks of the sharpened logs, but there are definitely at least a dozen crossbows trained on you right now as you are approaching. You also see this, Ashina, and you also get the impression that the wrong move at this moment would definitely pepper you with a ton of crossbow bolts.
I'm gonna make myself try to seem as small as possible.
Going for the no threat look. All right. Ashina, what's
I
your
mean,
approach?
I am only 5'1", so
Oh, you're itty. You're like half elf,
I'm
half
very
half.
itty bitty.
You're half elf, half
Yeah.
halfling. Half elf, half dwarf.
No, all right, knowing that the baby dragon fell down further into my breastplate,
I think
I'm
actually
gonna
by
just
now you
cradle,
could have scooped him up
adjusted
a
it back
little.
up,
Yeah.
brought it back up. Okay, I'm just gonna lay my hand across my chest like so, and just walk in casually.
All right. So I'm gonna need one or both of you to do a persuasion check, and you do it with advantage as Jimmy does call up. You hear Jimmy's voice from within.
Not so likely stick yet.
Persuasion.
You wanna do this, or do you want me to?
I got a +4.
Yeah, you.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that didn't work so well.
That's bad.
As a quick point, I don't know how much we want to use.
You have advantage though.
Advantage though.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
that's better.
There you
From
go.
a 7 to a
23.
23. That was a good use of advantage. So they were.
Thank you.
You hear the creak of the crossbows as they're like raising, and leather as they're raising up to like shoot you in the face. But then Jimmy calls out with that, and then you hear the creak of them all kind of relax a little bit as you walk in through the palisade door, and you see Jimmy there, gives a nod, and he also sends you on towards the tavern. Okay, who's our next pair?
I'll go in
Yeah,
next
let's
with Lesrin.
All right,
Please.
so I'm gonna get you to do a well. What's your passive perception?
12.
12. So you don't see, but you do see the wall coming up. You don't see the
So,
crossbows.
would I know anything about like the nature of the settlement maybe that Jimmy's let on? Like, is there like a clear leader here, or is this kind of like just like a
Do you have a
anarchist
criminal
type
background?
community? Pardon?
Do you have any kind of ties to criminality?
Uh,
Because
Probably not.
this is
Most
a
of my experience
den
would
of
be in my my dwarven hall.
Yeah, so you came here by the official port, which is on the other side of the island, which unfortunately these people burned that there bridge, and so they are now resorting to the underworld, and Jimmy is your in. So unfortunately, without a criminal background of some kind, or possibly something in your backstory, like maybe a third cousin who, you know, went the wrong side of the law, but unfortunately, this is a fairly quiet, secretive place, and it is not well publicized. So you're kind of
So
honestly shocked that there is a small settlement here.
yeah, I asked because like if while I was waiting for everybody, I probably would have used my stone shape to like maybe make some gifts or something that I could give to like leaders of the settlement, like some little
Absolutely.
like stone boxes they could keep their thieves' tools in or something, just as like a sign of
Sure,
I come in
little
peace.
storage boxes, or like a little statue that opens up, and there's a smaller statue within it that opens up, and a smaller
Yeah,
statue
I
within it
love
that
that.
opens up. Um,
Yeah,
so
like a little set of Matryoshka dolls. I
I'm
like
just
that.
gonna say you've always got that on you. That's how you spend your time. You're just like constantly shaping stuff and making stuff. So you have that for sure. Lovely.
Nice.
So you go in, you walk past, bold as brass, past this entrance. I'm going to need you, and on Lesrin's half, he's going to help you, and Jimmy's going to help you as well. So you do get advantage on this. I'm going to ask you to pick one of the social skills. You can do persuasion, you can do intimidation, you can do deception, whichever one you prefer.
I think I'm gonna go for persuasion.
That makes sense. You're not trying to trick anybody into letting you in. You're just walking up.
So I got a 14. Yeah, and I just come, with our gifts out. It's we're just travelers on the road, seeking refuge. Our friend has told us that she might be able to offer assistance.
Shut up, man. You're gonna get us fucking killed.
Says Jimmy.
Dude,
I didn't mention anybody's name.
play it cool.
Okay.
Yeah. He's good. Both of them are.
And there's a really awkward pause for a moment, and then you hear the crossbows uncock, and they walk on through. But one of these guys, right near the edge, kind of looks over and you spot him. You passive picks up that one of these kind of assassin types on the wall is kind of eyeballing you, and he's like, "Hey, you said you had like a stone?"
For you, my friend, of course. And I hand him one of my little stone boxes that he can keep his thieves' tools in.
Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you.
It's got nice little compartments for each one of them, so they don't have to touch each other.
Oh,
They don't
this
have
is
to
great.
touch.
I'll give this. Oh, this is amazing. Thank you so much. My name is Tho.
I'm Balin the Tho. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. And then a bunch of the
Thank
other
you for your hospitality.
a bunch of the other thieves up on the wall are like, "Dude, what are you? You were gonna kill him." Anyway, so you get past the gate, and Jimmy's like,
All right, keep walking until you get to the inn, and then look for Hilda. Okay? Look for Hilda. Okay? That's all I need.
"Sorry,
I
apparently
use my
don't."
message spell to respond so no one knows I'm talking to him. It's like, I'm sorry, man. I'm not the most subtle dwarf out here, Cunning is not my strong suit.
Fresh out of the
What the hell? What was
plan,
that?
basically.
He's clearly not used to the magic of the message spell, and it takes him a few seconds to realize it was you whispering just inside. Hello, this is Dungeons and Dragons and Jazz. As you whisper in his ear, and then he kind of plays it cool there for a second, and then sends you on towards the tavern. All right, who's up next?
So it'd be being empty.
All right, you
All
guys
right,
approach.
well,
Perception, and one of your choice of how you hope to get through this. How do you approach this gate?
Imagine Empty hasn't super like picked up on like how tense everything is. She's just kind of like, I'm looking forward to getting into town. Really beat. It's been a long day, you know, just like kind of like finally sort of stress has built and now she's just kind of casually talking in a way that she wasn't before. She was like kind of quiet earlier, but now she's like, okay, I can relax now, kind of a thing. And it's maybe
been a few
not
minutes.
the best tact, but also maybe that's fine because you know casualness might be good. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Talithar, what's your approach?
I guess Althar, he's just gonna march up and kind of like go up to the gate and just yell up, "I've had a bad night."
You definitely look the most military of all of these people. So,
like fucking purple worms and shit. I need a beer. And then,
okay. So I'm gonna get you both. What's your passive perceptions?
14 for me.
19.
19. Oh, empty. You pick up, even though you're being casual. You don't have an emotional tie to it because you're feeling kind of relaxed. But you definitely clock that there are like
Empty is weird in that like
18 assassins
right
looking at you.
Like Empty is weird in that like I described her as sort of like not picking up on the tone. She like subconsciously picks up on tone and stuff, even though she hasn't like actively picked up. Does that make sense?
No,
like,
it totally does. It's like you see it.
It's just
you
one of those,
definitely
like,
see it.
I feel
but
like
you
I
don't-
haven't figured this out. And then if anyone was like, "How many were there?" It's like, "Oh yeah, there was 19." Yeah.
Yeah, there's 18
I
and the
should
guy
think
land
mine-
has halitosis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, my passive's 15. Sorry.
All right. So you do clock that there are obvious crossbow people watching you. Talithar,
I just
you
don't
pick
care.
up that there's probably like 5 of them, and empty. You clock all 18 exactly, and one commander who's busy smoking a pipe.
Althar does not care.
All right. So what do you want to roll as you approach this gate? It's got to be something kind of social. So persuasion, intimidation,
A little bit of intimidation.
All right. What about you, empty?
I mean, it sounds like Talithar's kind of stepped ahead, so I'm not sure if anything I do is
you
even
could
really
grant
gonna be
advantage
on the radar right now.
You could just do
grant
the
advantage.
aid.
Yeah, I think that seems appropriate. I don't know exactly if like my sort of like, oh, okay, like helps or not, but like
I mean,
I feel like
I'm not like
mechanically that's
trying
where
to
I'm landing.
crazy intimidate them, but I'm trying to be, you know.
It's like walking down the
It's-
hall with a clipboard. You intend
Right.
to go there. You're
Yes,
doing it on
exactly.
purpose. Yeah, I did
Yes.
that trick all the
All
time.
right. So if I get advantage, I will roll.
Yep, go for it.
First one is a bad roll.
12. Oh,
14.
14.
Oof.
All right.
Oh.
And Jimmy's like,
The moon is high at midnight.
moon
The
is-
moon is high at midnight. The moon is high at midnight.
and a Talithar, 5 crossbow bolts hit the dirt just in front of you as you start marching forward. Do you keep going or do you want to stop?
What?
So
No,
I'm gonna
nothing
I'm gonna
happened.
stop and look at the crossbow bolts and look back up. What? I said I want a beer.
Your kind's not welcome here.
The people up on the gate seem to have picked up on your uniform-like appearance.
And what kind is that?
Another one calls out, is like,
Yeah, you, piece of crap guards and soldiers. You've been giving us a hard time forever. Your kind's
not a
welcome
guard.
here.
I'm not a guard nor a soldier.
Can we we just come in and talk about it in there? It's been a long day. Or night? What time is it?
I'll just say this. I'm a sword for hire.
A sword for hire. I'll believe that when my grandmother lays a dragon egg.
Can I try to persuade?
Empty, go ahead.
16. Not
16?
any better, really.
That's
A little bit better.
Not terrible. A little bit better.
A little better. Sometimes 50 is the break point, so fair enough. Yeah. I feel
You
like
don't have a problem with
not.
you and you like you're not even armored. But the guy in the plate mail? Hell no. What are you doing here?
I'm here being paid to take cargo back.
Ah. Bernard's on the far side. We won't shoot you, but you go back.
Sorry, that last bit just cut out.
No problem. Sorry. They're basically like, go to Bernard. Don't come here. If you want official cargo.
Oh, that was the other town. Got it. I was like, I thought it was some guy named Bernard. Okay,
No, that's
I'm on board.
I'm not welcome. I'm not welcoming Bernard.
Oh, that'd be nice. What'd you do? Disobey orders?
Got into a little bit of a fight with the Rio guards there.
By the way, the person speaking is
Real
like
guards.
clearly the commander, but also one of the youngest of the group. They're only like 17, 16, something like that. You can see their head poking up just over the side. He's like,
Yeah, I know all you lawful types. You wouldn't know what to do if anybody tried to hire you to do anything awful. You know what? I'll tell you what. You want to come in here? You prove that you're willing to break the law a little bit.
And
he's just
we're
looking
just
back and forth.
cut out. What did he say? Sorry.
oh,
Break
sorry.
the
He
law.
says you got to prove that you're willing to break the law a little bit.
It's a smidgen.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. You will have a wager. Alright? You versus one of my guys. Not to the death. But I like your sword. You wager your sword. You win, you get what you want. You lose, I keep your sword.
Done.
All right. So he motions, this like 16-year-old kid motions to somebody who comes clambering down the ladder, and you hear them come down, the thump, thump. And they get to the ground. They come spinning past Jimmy, and Jimmy's like, come on, guys. This isn't necessary. They're with me. And then this guy keeps walking past Jimmy, and it's this pretty bruiser-looking dude with just regular looking leather armor as he comes running forward. This big dude, and he puts this crossbow down, and he cracks his knuckles, and he goes running at Talithar, and he wants to fight Talithar to prove how like messed up he is. So, are you there, Gordon?
Yeah, I just had to turn off the camera.
Yeah,
just
no worries,
the
no worries.
internet thing.
So the guy comes charging forward. Go ahead and roll initiative. Empty. You can also roll initiative.
I think I'm just watching for now.
Fair enough, but if
I guess
you
I'll
wanna-
roll just so I'm in
Yeah.
turn order. Yeah,
Yeah.
in case I want to jump in.
Okay. I'm gonna roll.
Do it.
Appropriate.
But did Gordon roll
This is
another
my
19?
fight.
Oh, hold on.
No, I rolled a 3.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Well,
Total
that also
19.
happened. That's just not what I was reacting to.
All right, Talithar's at 19. Empty's at 3. Let me just grab my dice here. I'm not going to do it on the thing. There we go. Okay. Talithar, you get the drop on the thug guy. He comes running up. Are you going to sword him? Or are you going to go hand to hand? He appears to be unarmed at the moment. Just a big old thug.
He's unarmed.
He appears to be unarmed.
But he's rushing. But we're allowed to use weapons. This isn't like an unarmed combat.
Take it as you will. He runs at you unarmed, apparently. Both his big meaty hands clicking together, kind of, stubbly, short cropped hair, a bit of jowl on him. He's probably like a good, 250 pounds, wearing like a leather armor. Comes running forward and he's like cracks his knuckles, cracks his neck, goes walking up to you. It's your turn though.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
Okay. I'm gonna cast. And so like the challenge, is it just to knock out?
Yeah. Non-lethal.
Non-lethal?
That's the impression you were given.
Okay. I'm gonna cast Wrathful Smite, bonus action on my sword. I'm gonna hit him with the blunt side though. Like I'm not gonna.
All right, so he comes running up. You already had you whip your sword out and thwack him. Go ahead and make your roll.
Okay. First attack is a 16.
16 hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay.
Just barely.
And just barely. So then that is 1d8 plus 7 plus the Wrathful Smite. Ooh, not a very high roll. But I think I get a little bit more damage on the Wrathful Smite. Yeah, an extra d6. Okay, 9, and he has to do a wisdom. I know. At least just on damage.
So 9
he has to do a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom save. Ooh. He looks at you and grins, and he's missing a few teeth, and others are discolored and like askew, but he looks like he's real happy to be here, and it does not look like he's in any way afraid of you with Wrathful.
All right.
He rolled an 18.
Okay. Second attack.
Go ahead. Make your second attack.
18.
Ooh, 18 hits as you slap him with the other side of the blade.
And I am going to... No, I'll just do that. 14 damage.
Oof.
So he's taken...
You just spin her out, clobber him with
23.
the hilt right to the face. And now his nose is badly broken, trickling blood, and that same stupid impression on his face, like... and he starts to chortle and bleed heavily from, blowing bubbles of blood out at you. And that is your turn. Thank you. He definitely took some hits. All right. Coming up next, it's his turn. So he decides to take a few swings at you. First swing is going to come in at 15.
Yes.
This one, you just easily duck out of the way. Do a perception check for me.
Okay.
Ooh.
Not one, so no.
You don't notice anything.
You're just
I'm just like, it's done.
Empty, you hear this, but Talithar does not. As Jimmy's like,
let the thug win.
And Talithar, you're just like, yeah. And the big guy just comes up, big old meaty hawk right in the face. Nat 20. So you're going to take, and it's, they definitely have some heft to them, so they're throwing more than just the base. So that's going to be 6 points of bludgeoning damage as it clocks you in the helm and drives the helm straight into your nose. You might actually have a bit of a bloody nose at this point. That was a pretty solid. Oh, sorry. Actually, 3 extra on top. So that's a total of 9 points of bludgeoning damage. So I doubled the dice. And then this, so that was second attack. First one just missed. Okay. It is now Empty's turn. What do you want to do, Empty? Just watch
Yeah,
it.
this actually works. So I think I've sort of like backed up, almost like there's like a wall, right? Like a palisade you said. So like
Yeah.
I've like backed up against it basically and watching this. But then I hear what
And
Jimmy
Jimmy's
said,
right next to you,
and
basically. Or pretty
it's like
close.
it's dark, It's dark. I mean, probably from the angle, I'm probably hard to see. As like the fight like kicks up, there's almost this like instinctual like that fighting spirit we've seen previously almost like jumps out of her, even though she wasn't like wanting to do that. This time it's just the crisscrossing branches across her face. The arms don't manifest.
Sure.
And we hear Wisdom's voice, if you will, as opposed to Empty's voice. But only Talthar can hear what she is saying.
All right.
And she repeats what Jimmy said. Just let him win. They're never going to let you win otherwise. And that is the Visage of the Astral Self. One of its abilities is that you may... Previously, you heard me shout using it, but it can also be used to direct your speech so only one person can hear.
Nice. All right. So you definitely hear that this time, Talthar, and it kind of takes you in the middle of all that. All right, top of the order, Talthar. It is your turn. What do you want to do?
So how close am I to the gates, like the palisade and all that?
You're probably about 15 feet away, and Empty, Wisdom, and Jimmy are they're just at the gate, and then just past it is probably only about 15 feet away.
Okay. I am going to... I am going to use my last first level slot, Wrathful Smite, and do it again.
All right. So go ahead and make your attack roll.
First one's 20.
Ooh, that's a hit.
So he takes 11 damage. Do a Wisdom save.
All right.
16.
This time we take the fighting outside the tavern. We started before.
Yeah, exactly. It's like pre-drinking. It's pre-fighting. You got your travelers. All right. So unfortunately for him, he definitely takes the damage on that, which I believe comes in at 11 points of damage. Ooh, that is a solid thwacking. And you can hear those kind of mumbles coming from on the far side of the gate as they're just like,
ooh, that's gonna hurt.
And they're all just kind of, those of you who are close, like Empty, can see them shaking their heads and be like, yeah, the band is beating him down, man. And like, the big guys just blood, like,
and you wonder why you're not welcome in Brandon, or where was it? Brendan? Whatever.
Bernard.
And did he make his save?
He failed his save.
Okay, cool. Second attack.
Yep, go for it.
Well, that's resolving. How far away are, like, I know we're sort of coming into it at a time. Like, what is the lead distance on that? Like, how far away is everyone else?
Everybody else is...
Could I see Gex from where I am, for example?
Let's say you can see Gex starting to roll up now, yeah.
And he takes another 12 damage.
Ooh. They are taking a solid... Oh, he looks rough. The next shot just rocks him. You clip him with the bottom of the hilt, like the pommel. Just bang, right up beside the head. And the big guy's just like... He's still, to his credit, standing. But he is looking pretty, like, really teetering at this point. And you can... let's see you do another perception check to see what you pick up.
Okay. $24 this time.
This time you can hear Jimmy through gritted teeth being like,
let the big guy save face.
Let him save face, Jimmy says.
Okay.
But I'm not going to. You heard of
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, that tracks. All right, so coming up next, that was your second shot?
Yep. His turn.
It's his turn. So he's just wobbling, like waving back and forth, ready to fall over. And okay, two things happen. He just like barely seeing straight, takes the laziest swing, rolls a 1, and like practically falls over. And everyone on the wall is like, as he starts to climb, like slowly pick up his elbows to like pick himself back up again after his first swing. And then something happens. The next thing, first of all, there's a very, very fast flick of Jimmy wanting to take a step forward. And you feel something just whip past your face. It's your helm, so it's just like doesn't actually make contact. And then the big guy must have been a feint because he came down and he's like, natural 1. The next shot, natural 20. Just
Right. Did you roll that at disadvantage?
Right. Oh, no, he didn't. So I will roll again. We'll see. All right. Does 18 hit your AC?
No.
No. Freaking plate mail. Bing! Right in the cod piece. But you do have a cod piece. And so it's just like, now the force of that lifts you a bit off your feet just for a second. Like, but it doesn't actually, it doesn't hit the family jewels. But it does have enough force to lift you slightly. But it doesn't do damage. What do you want to do with this?
I'm going to, just hearing Jimmy, I'm going to kind of play into it that it didn't hurt me, but I'm going to act like it kind of did hurt me a bit.
Okay.
And
go
wobble
ahead and
a bit.
Roll deception.
Okay. $19.
19. Nice. So everybody sees this guy go down and then wind up, and you can even, like, in retrospect, empty, you hear the leader person be like,
Oh, watch this. He's gonna get him. He's gonna get him.
and then they'll wind up, and then woo, right in the cod piece, and he lifts him a good foot off the ground, and the paladin just like goes, ooh, oh, and the whole crowd just cheers as the paladin kind of pretends to limp it off, and plays it up, and the whole crowd's like, oh yeah, good one, and they're all laughing and cheering that they got this guy in plate mail and the nads, and be like, yeah, and the big guy like gets to his feet, his eyes are still freaking crossed, he's that wrung, like he's so close to drop, and then everybody's so cheering him on, and he like raises his hands like he just won a boxing match, and Jimmy runs out and grabs the guy's hand and holds it up, and grabs your hand and also holds it up, and the whole crowd is just like,
Yeah, all right. Good job.
and like, wow, that sounded really robotic. Sorry, Darcy. Darcy hates it. And the whole crowd just kind of cheering him on and like playing it up. And Jimmy leans in and really directs the crowd to celebrate this moment and plays it up. And like Jimmy pulls on your cloak and stuff. And they all kind of have a good chuckle. And after a little while, the leader guy kind of approaches the side. And this 16-year-old kid, it's like, leans down, looks towards you, and be like,
All right. So, you can come on in. But, I'm gonna need your sword.
you gonna give it to him?
Nope. I'm going to say he didn't beat me. It was a good fight, but I didn't lose.
And Jimmy pipes up, is like,
Yeah, I mean, come on. Let's call that a draw, right? We got a chuckle. Yeah. You know what I mean?
and after a few seconds, go ahead and roll persuasion with advantage.
Okay. Admirable.
How'd that come up as? Oh, I see it now. I heard the sound.
Only
but I
because
didn't
of
look.
advantage.
Because of advantage, 26. And the guy kind of pauses and looks at you. He's like,
Alright, sure. You go put some ice on your balls.
And then sends you on towards the tavern. And Jimmy's like, escorts you closer to the tavern as Gex kind of comes walking up. Gex, go ahead and do a perception check for me. And who's with
13.
Gex? Right, Elias, you can also do a perception.
Quickly before that, because I went last to cast Clairvoyance.
Nice.
To see if anyone was following us. So, did anyone show up in that time, or just staring at some trees?
So the first thing you notice is the wall of thorns and trees and just brambles, all kinds of just green nonsense has now appeared at the entrance to where the cliff face kind of separates, going down on the path you were versus kind of climbing up away from the coast. And when you concentrate on that spot and it appears as the shimmering image before you, you can see, after a long while, you see this white big bird, almost practically glowing in the dark, come and land on a nearby branch. And it kind of looks around, and then it kind of circles up and around and over there. And then a good, 5-10 minutes later, you see somebody approach. They're wearing leathers, blue basic leathers with, brown etchings, and a cloak pulled up over their head as they approach. And they're kind of scouting out the way. And you can see they've got a short bow and they're looking around. And they don't see a clear path. And they kind of look around. And after a while, they end up rolling a 2 on their tracking ability. And they end up following along away from the coast, the path you did not take. Because it just looks so overgrown. There's no possible way there's any way through there. And so they go off that way. And if you stay longer, you see another 2 people come by. And they look a little bit rough, like they've been traveling overnight. They look like they're pretty dirty. That one of them has a nasty scratch on their face that's got some dried blood. But they also followed this scout. And you hear a this way, kind of over there. And they are very clearly now taking the wrong path.
Do I recognize them from the bar?
They look like the guards. You don't recognize these 3 in particular, but you do recognize they are definitely the Mage Tower, the former crew of the Balthasar, who have such a beef against the Strange Acquaintance crew that you're currently part of.
Okay.
You're about to turn and leave, and then you notice something else. But this is as you are now walking, because Gex has said it's now time to go. So you're now approaching the gate, and you're kind of letting Gex guide you as you are now seeing this vision clouding over most of what's in front of you. You're kind of you can perceive, but it's at disadvantage. Gex, as you approach this, how'd you do on your perception? We're gonna jump back to Elias in just 1 sec.
Yeah, 13 on the perception.
Okay, so again, you don't pick up the idea that there's a big guard at this gate, and you see Empty standing there at the entrance, because I don't believe Empty went with the other 2, did you?
Did
Jimmy
we move through?
escorted Talithar through, and you went through the gate, but you're on the far side. You can choose to go with Talithar and Jimmy, Jimmy is taking Talithar to the bar.
Right, I didn't realize that we'd moved on. I probably would, but as I see Gex approach,
yeah,
because I thought that we were still sort of out front and he was approaching before we had time to leave. I was going to say something like, situation has resolved, no need to break form or something, but maybe that doesn't matter.
You can wait till you get within speaking range, sure.
Well, I'd be using this magic.
Oh, right. Yeah, go ahead.
Mask.
So
it does have a range of 60 feet, so there is a range requirement, but it's not like I need to whisper or anything. I can do that. But nice. It sounds like if we're moving on before Gex is getting close enough for it to break the whole, hey, we're trying to come in staggered, then I don't think I'll bother. We'll sort of see a last look at Empty Wisdom with the mask on, the astral mask, and just sort of. I don't know exactly what they look like, but they have that air of like pompous rolling their eyes, like, what is the situation that's beneath me? And then the mask like fades away into the astral, and she kind of like steadies herself as if she had like vertigo suddenly, and then sees them going, oh, and we're going in, and rushes after.
So Gex, you see Empty Wisdom walking on through the gate. How do you want to approach this scenario? How do you want to play this? Now, Gex, I will say this. Do you understand Thieves' Cant?
Very well.
All right, so as you approach, you see the telltale scratch marks on the posts. 3 lines, a triangle, 4 lines. You can read the room. Even without words, you can see the sign for stop and declare yourself. This is guild territory.
Right. Okay, so I'll look around for who it appears I should declare myself to.
Sure. You don't see very many of the people, but you can see there's this kind of youngish kid, like 16 years old. There's a couple others. You see like 2 people with crossbows kind of aimed in your direction with your kind of piss poor perception. But you do see this one kid, and he kind of turns to you as though he was just finishing a conversation, sees off the others, and turns back and sees you. And you see his hand flash a quick Thieves' Cant of identify yourself.
Yeah, what ho, Squiffy, top hole, Belly Jerry. Betty Harper's. I am Gex Techford.
What's your damage for?
Well, it's perfectly ordinary, Squiffy Belly Jerry. I pranged my knife right into the How's Your Father, the Harry Blighter, Dickie Birded, feathered back on his Sammy, took a waspy, flipped over the Betty Harper's, and caught his can in the birdie.
Yeah, but did you sheath your knife in the butter?
Well, yeah. Well, Belly Jerry, of course, rides his kite near How's Your Father with the Howly Blighter Dickie Birding. When you feather back on your Sammy and take a waspy, you need to flip over on your Betty Harper's and catch you in the birdie.
All right, get the fuck in here.
He's just like, you're in. And it's a good thing that Gex did most of the talking there, because Elias, he just kind of pulls you along with him as you kind of stumble in towards the Smuggler's Cove. You all enter in, you all usher your way into the tavern. Now, Elias, you're keeping that kind of open window of your clairvoyance going in the corner of your vision as you see you're approaching this ramshackle tavern. There's music playing. It seems like a pretty fun atmosphere, a little bit ruckus, but it's definitely kind of lively. There's actually a half decent bard playing in there. Everybody's kind of getting this good vibe as you walk in. It's probably the biggest building in the whole place, other than some of the warehouses. And you can see, you see these wonderful, interesting tables, and there's like 2 different bars. There's a band playing, like there's a halfling just busy freaking rocking it out on a lute in the far corner, and backed by some like hand drum type situation, and a throat singer, like a half orc throat singer going in the background doing all those rhythms. And it's just gelling. This whole place is pretty packed with, like, imagine extras from Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, it is, the whole place is just jamming and rum soaked, and like the place is a real good vibe, but with a bit of an edge to it. And you all manage to kind of get in there, and Jimmy steers you over. Hilda has somehow managed, actually, let's see, Hilda, I'm going to need you to roll deception, deception or persuasion or intimidation, your choice. We'll see where you're seated. These are the important roles when it comes to D&D.
Yeah, these. Oh my goodness.
We gotta establish the exact shot
Are you
of
by
what
the
happens.
kitchen? Are you like at the front?
All right, so I had entered into
roll
the
for
tavern.
last minute reservation is what I'm saying.
Roll for last minute reservation. So I roll up into the tavern first. pretty kind of unsure of myself. I don't usually roll with the pirate crew.
Mind you, you've been sailing, so you actually pick up on a lot of like.
Yeah.
You
There's
got
a
little
few.
Salt. There's a little salt. and I'm gonna have to say this is definitely the rusty salted clam.
This is the rusty salted clam. So with a 14, I walk up to the bartender.
All right.
And just inquire.
You kind of elbow your way through. It's pretty packed. The bartender kind of look. Oi, what you want?
A table for me and my crew. They are coming in shortly after me.
Of course,
we're about
milady.
11.
We'll get the maitre d' right on it. Fuck off.
Undeterred, I say, look, I see there's a few tables in the back. We don't need to have front row seats. You can put those together.
And he looks down at you and he's like,
Yeah, right. Just don't go there if it's shit you can't pay for, yeah?
Will do, sir. Will do.
All right.
and so you go towards the back. You start like scavenging like 2 and 4 together to start making a bunch. And then as the party kind of trickles in, more and more people try to sit at your table and you try to shoo them away. And eventually, Lesrin walks in and just literally picks up some salty old pirate, moves him to a different spot. And he's so blasted drunk, he doesn't even notice. Just go. And so the whole group kind of eventually gets there. Gex and Elias are the last ones in. As you go walking towards, they kind of wave you down. You sit at this inn. You arrange rooms so you can stay. Jimmy comes back. He says he's got you 3 rooms if you don't mind bunking together. And Elias is still kind of doing the heads up thing. What does everybody want to do while they're here at an inn?
Instead of getting a drink.
Nice.
Eat, drink, and sleep.
Food and drink. Yep.
Eat
Empties
and drink
about that room
and sing.
And rooms.
All
I
right.
want to listen to the band. What kind of instruments are they playing?
Oh, there's like a hand drum, a lute. There's a pseudo kind of acoustic bass, which the guy's like also augmenting by kicking what is essentially basically an empty bucket as a bass drum. And then there's this halfling on lute who's actually standing on an empty bucket height, screaming his throat out. It's just a rocking place. The open rafters of the place. There's like some not fairy fire, but kind of fairy light, kind of magical wisp going around the stage, providing an uplight. It's definitely an actual legit bard or a group of them. It's a good vibe, man. I once saw a place at the Key to Bala. What band was that? I'll try to think of it after. But anyway, it's a good freaking vibe, and everybody's having a good old time. Talathar's tying one on, and as Gex gets around and passes Elias a drink, the drink gets in your hand, and Elias, I need you to do a perception check for me. 25. So Elias, as you look into the cup, out of almost habit, you see the foam, the head on the cup, and there's a little face in the foam. And then you're just like, wait, what? You see your grandmother, and you blink, and you go back to that entrance to the path where the weeds and everything have overgrown it. And you see 4 more people approach that path and then begin to turn north, away from the way you went. They're moving inland. You feel like you're safe. And then for a second, you see that one of them is a short person covered in a hood. And then you see within the hood a familiar shape, a hunch in the back from years of age. You see kind of longish gray hair. And you see the face just peeking out of your grandmother, hooded amongst these people who are tracking you. And for a second, you're thrown off by this. And then one of the other three kind of shoves her roughly. Keep walking. And you recognize Hudrick, as he gives your grandmother a little kick and shoves her along. If we can't find him, it'll be your ass.
And that's where we cut to black.
And Elias, in the midst of this party, what do you say?
As that's going on, so he's like fully focused, and like he's just constantly like you see him like every few seconds his eyes are closed and then they're open because he's like switching between like listening and hearing because he can't do both.
Yeah.
And then immediately he's gonna just shout out like, "They have my grandma," and like kind of like slam the table, but like he's still like he's gripping the table hard to like kind of keep him grounded because he's still trying to pay attention to what's happening because the more information he can get the better, but he's
so you
like
see
definitely trembling.
So you do that. You slam your drink down. It spills this drink that Gex just brought you. Everybody else kind of turns, and in the midst of this party scene, those who haven't gone off to bed kind of notice Elias say this, and you're kind of left kind of desperately trying to search for any details that might give it away. And with a 25, most people would have missed it, but you can see your grandmother's hand making these little motions, these little soothing kind of pats that she would used to do kind of along your leg or your back when she was just kind of when you were a kid, and she's just making those motions. And as they turn north away, and she's like, yes, of course. And she kind of looks up at Hudrick and kind of flinches. And then she looks directly at your scrying sensor, locking eyes with you. And she gives this little look at you as if to say, I know you're there. And she mouths some words, and you're desperate to figure out what they are. And she says, you see her mouth the words. It's some, you wouldn't normally pick this up. You can't read lips, right? You don't have that thing. I'm gonna get you to do an intelligence check for me. See how well you can read her lips. As she just mouths this towards your sensor.
God damn it. I have a 20.
All right, so you get a 9 total. You can't make out the exact things, but you catch part of a sentence. The rain will fall. Something, us all. And you're trying to place it, and then you remember, it's a quote from something, a book, one of your divination books, but like an intro level that she had once shared with you. You don't remember exactly what it is. The rain will fall. For us all. Cut to black. And that concludes our... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I want to hear what you do. I want to hear.
That's okay. He's starting to panic, and he's just like, they have my grandma, and he's like almost hyperventilating, but he's also like he's torn. He doesn't know which way to go because fate is telling him one thing, and then his family's the other way. So,
all right, you all hear that, and you all may get a rest. What are you saying there, Timely?
No, just...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for now. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks. December 20th, I think, will be our next D&D game. And don't forget to stick around next week for those of you joining for Shadowrun with Steve. Thanks very much, everybody. Nice work. I wasn't sure where tonight was going to go with my mountains of prep.
You thought I was the way.
But thanks. We had some jump scares, falling off cliffs almost. That was fun.
It was a good session.
Now, one thing I will ask is either you at the table or you on the internet. We need a name for tonight's episode. I'll let you think about that for a second. Did you say you had a second ad there, Steve, or is that we got that earlier?
Well, I could read another ad. What,
All right,
what ad do you?
Well, we'll throw that in as a post-credit roll. But anybody got some names for tonight's episode?
Welcome to Smugglers Cove. I have boring names. They are not the caliber that this show is used to.
Yeah, I don't know if any of us can beat Steve. I mean, he's a genius at this.
Oh, yeah. Forget the ad, Steve. We need a
It's just
name.
about consistent tone, you know? Like...
Someone say something.
I
Someone
would
say
say,
something
like-
and then have Steve translate into Thieves' Cant.
Yeah, it's true.
Don't
That's
say
not a
his
bad
name.
idea.
Don't say his
I do
name.
love fake Thieves' Cant. It's so good.
It pops to mind, you know, like
name for the show.
Cliffhanging Clams, I think, is a good one.
Cliffhanging Clams.
Cliffhanging Clams.
Cliffhanging.
Yeah.
Click. Hanging off Grandma's cliff clam. What?
Oh, hanging out there. No. Clams on a cliff.
Followed into the depths of the cove.
Depths of the cove?
Followed into the depths of the cove.
That's pretty good. I like how moody that is. But I also like something about... Yeah. And
Or
what
it
about...
could be like, coming into the cove to
Oh.
plumb the depths of the clam or something like that.
Followed into the clam of the clove. I don't know. We'll put the clove's clam and
Arri-
Alabama.
Arriving at the
Shlama
clammy-
Bingley.
Arriving at the clammy cove.
Cove's clam chowder.
Arriving in Clam Town.
It sounds.
It
like
goes
we're
back.
picking
It
a
goes back
episode
to
name.
Isolde's soup fixation.
Good soup. I like that episode.
Stew baby.
I'm arriving in Clam Town.
Arriving in Clam Cove. Followed to Clam Cove. That could work. That could work. I like that, Steve. All right, we'll figure it out. But thanks very much, Internet. And we'll see you next week for Steve's game. Unfortunately, I won't make it, but we will be hosting it here. You can watch it on Twitch, or you can go check it out on Steve's channel, which I will throw up on the Instagram. So go literally, I'll just picture myself throwing up on the Instagram. If you like tonight's game, don't forget to click the buttons to follow, like, subscribe. And if you really want to spread the word, but we really, really appreciate spreading the word, get it out there so that people can join us either after the fact. And I believe it was Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania, thank you. We see you listening, and thank you very much. So we'll see you next week. Well, not next week. We'll see you the week after. But check
Hello,
out Steve's game.
Pennsylvanian.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Pennsylvania. But yes, wherever you are in the world, we hope you're having a good time. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And we will see you in a little while. December 20th for the next D&D. Cheers. And parting words?
Nope.
Good night.
Don't stick your fingers in the clam. Don't stick your
Arrivederci.
fingers in the clam.
Nice. I might use that as our title. All right. Good night, everybody. I hope you have a good week, everybody. Buttons. Buttons are here. Party on, dudes. Be excellent. I like that a lot.